We might have a debate, you guys.
I'm trying to give you a foundation to build from, okay? Because your foundation's garbage. It's ass.
Look, man, you're just a needle sucker, man, and you're a needle sucker, and that's what you are, man. That's what you are, man.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, cool. So, yeah, so you say you wanted to debate, yeah?
You've been spamming me for quite a while, so I thought, why not? Got a bit bored.
I've been spamming you because you're telling lies, man.
Have I?
Yeah.
What
Okay,
kind of
so
lies?
let me go first. Okay, so number one, you said that Russia killed 30,000 people just in Mariupol, and you know, just like you just recently just came out that civilians, you said 30,000 civilians just in Mariupol. What was that, like in the first couple of months? I don't know how long it took them take over Mariupol, but that was one of the major cities that I took first. But yeah, it just came out, like, I mean, recently, just like, you know, in January, that the civilian population that Russia has killed is 10,000. So Israel has killed much more people than Russia has in a short amount of time. And you refuted that, and you said Russia has killed more people and has done more damage, has caused more chaos to Ukrainians than Israel has, that was a big lie.
Where are you getting that the Mariupol figures were wrong? Do you remember what I said about Mariupol? The estimates?
Remind me, but you said 30K, like you said 30K, they killed just 30K civilians in Mariupol, which is wrong.
I said the estimates are that they've killed anything between 25 and 75,000 in Mariupol. We don't know because Russia's occupied Mariupol, and you can't count the dead when Russia's there because they're not letting anyone in to count the dead.
Look, I've seen
so the only way that I told you how people have estimated the number of dead in Mariupol. Do you remember how I said that? How I came to that?
No. How do you say
So why do you know it's a lie?
Because I've seen videos of an American ex-American soldier embedded with Russian troops in Mariupol, and he was there with grandmothers and other civilians and children, and they were giving out bread and everything like that, and they were taking care of. Look, Russia has a connection with the Ukrainians, and they see Mariupol as part of theirs. They see the people as part of theirs.
This has nothing to do with what I asked you. You're just going on a tangent now. Why do you...
No,
what did I say about Mariupol that led you to believe I was lying if you don't even know where the 75,000 estimate comes from?
Where does it come from? Which article are you quoting from? Where does it come from? The Reuters article I've read. This is like only, like, it says 10 civilian death toll in Ukraine tops 10,000 UN human rights. So that's from the UN human rights, and that was 4 months ago.
So first of all, your 10,000 thing wouldn't even match the recent reports because the AP, it's Associated Press, by the way, their recent thing from, it's not even recent, it's December 2022, that they found at least 10,300 new graves in occupied Mariupol. These are just new graves.
Yeah, but you don't know if these are. You don't know. Yeah, but you don't know if these are like military. So they just said these are the people they killed. You don't know these are military men. These are not civilians. These are probably like, I mean. And
I didn't say just all 75,000 would have been all civilians, but we're talking total dead. The Gaza Health Ministry numbers are total dead. They're not just civilians. So why are you saying, nevertheless, you said I lied about Mariupol. You've had quite a long time to think about our last conversation. You've come in here saying I'm lying. You don't even know how I got the claim that it could have been between 25 and 75,000 dead in Mariupol.
Are you telling me right now that Russia has killed more civilians and has been more deadly, more catastrophic in its warfare, more scorched earth in its warfare than the Israelis have been towards Gaza? The people that are talking about, they are talking about, let's take back our land, like, Amalek this, there's no innocent civilians.
What do you think Russia's saying? What?
Oh my God! Now, look. Russians and Ukrainians get married to each other. Russians and Ukrainians can walk the same street as one another. Russians and Ukrainians have a kingdom together. Yeah, this is not the same thing.
These
that
are all the things that
Israelis-
Russians say as they conquer Ukraine, and they say that there's no such thing as a Ukrainian nationality or Ukrainian identity. They're all just Russians. As they raise their cities, change all the names of the fucking streets to Russian names, take down Ukrainian national murals and replace them with pictures of fucking Lenin.
Same thing.
Yeah, you can say it's quite easy to say, oh, they're our brothers, and by brothers, what we actually mean are imperial subjects. Yes, just because they say it in a nice way. What about like Russian journalists going through these Ukrainian cities and saying that they felt the devil in the air and shit like that? What?
Bro, I was hanging out after the war. I was hanging out.
When they literally, when Russia evacuates a town, and then people go into that town and they pick up fucking camera footage and they see like not ambiguous civilian killings or anything, or like blurry pictures. You literally just see people blindfolded, lined up against a wall. Then a Russian soldier goes and talks to his commander, then goes up to the people who are lined up against the wall and just fucking bang, 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 shoots them all in the fucking head and just leaves them in the street to rot as they evacuate the city.
Where are the dead babies in the incubators that Russia has left behind? Where are the dead babies?
Well, they were actually in a theater building when Russia hit them. Direct
whatever,
hit.
man. Like that was an axe. I mean, I don't even know about that one, but that was probably like a.
You don't even know about that one, but you're going to tell me that it was something more charitable than what it was, even though you don't know about it. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, do you really think
can you hear yourself when you're talking like that? You don't know what. You don't know what example I'm talking about. But you're sure.
They want to kill kids. You really think they want to kill kids?
I don't think they care. I think they're happy to just indiscriminately, actually indiscriminately bomb, as in they, like Russian munitions are literally fucking artillery shells that just fire into a square kilometer radius and they'll just hit fucking anything. Yes. I don't think they care. Mm-hmm. By the way, the story about Mariupol is that Associated Press, because Russia are not letting anyone in to count the dead, the way that we know that the estimates are far higher than what Russia is saying is that Associated Press, with aerial footage, have been able to log the growth of mass graves, and based on the size of the mass graves, the estimates could be anything between 25 and 75,000 dead in that city alone. Mm-hmm. But you think that's a lie. Why do you think that's a lie?
No, look, I think a lot of the people that were killed were Azov. A lot of the people that were killed were Azov.
We're talking about total deaths.
One city.
Who's this guy? Like it's just me and you. Who's the other guy, man? Like, tell him to.
Yeah, don't be rude, Dylan. Take a minute.
I'm gonna be rude. I'm very sorry. I'm gonna be very rude.
We're talking about total deaths, okay? So the Gaza Health Ministry gives us a total death number. The total death number in Mariupol, 75,000, or between 25 and 75,000 in one city. A city that used to have what, like 600,000 people? It's a pretty high proportion, isn't it?
People can make up the numbers on that one. I don't know if the 75,000 is and how the comment. It could be just both Ukrainians and Russians dying soldiers and mixing with the civilian population. It could be many things. I don't know. Just 75,000. Just like people are talking about like 1 million people died in fucking Bakhmut, man. Like it's ridiculous. I don't know. Like people talk about ridiculous
who said 1 million people died in Bakhmut?
Let's give you that. Let's say that like half the people in these mass graves are civilians. Isn't the Gaza death toll to 30,000 also include Hamas fighters?
I've repeated that like 3 times. He doesn't get it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Look, I'm going to put this.
Okay, I'm going to deficient, or is this like a losing effort?
Let me finish. Dylan, can I speak, please? All right. Number one, there are more refugees in Russia than anywhere else in the world. Okay, Ukraine refugees in the world.
Don't care.
Well, I'm just saying though, they take them in and they can walk the same street as the Russians can do, and Ukrainians can walk the same street as Russians can do. They won't get accosted, they won't get beaten up, they won't get sped up on. All right.
What am I supposed to take from that? Am I supposed to be like, wow, they're not literally linking all the Ukrainians in Russia?
Even in the West Bank, man.
Give them credit for that?
Yeah, you're supposed to give them, because look, compared to the Israelis, like even the West Bank, they're treating people like shit, and like they're killing children, even like they're shooting children before having fireworks. All sorts of fucking crazy stories come out, man. Like of settlers acting like a fool. Just all sorts of things come out, like just because like.
So you don't think I can give you stories of Russian nationalists beating Ukrainians, or what about Tajiks?
The same way that like there's the same hatred. There's the same hatred as as Israel. Like nobody, look
There is
everybody
a
knows.
hatred for Ukrainians in Russian society. It is a weird colonial hatred. It's the same. Like the French had a weird hatred for the Algerians while also claiming them. The Portuguese had a weird hatred for the Angolans while also claiming them. There's this.
Look, man,
You
these
can
are
have a
white people,
colonial
these are-
ownership over people.
Oh, please, man. Like Russia was born in Ukraine, okay? These are the same birth mothers, so you can't tell them like they're the same colonial, same Algerians.
Africa is
Israelis and
the mother
Palestinians
of
are
all
both Semitic
civilization.
people.
You
What
can't be
fucking
racist
justification
towards
is this?
Africans. That's crazy.
What do you mean? Like you can be like these people speak the same language basically. I've met people
Hey,
that are
wait,
Russians.
there
Can I
are
speak,
more-
please? Can I speak, Dylan's? Can I speak 1 minute? All right. Can I just
No,
speak?
you
All right?
can't. I'm sorry.
All right. Anyway, I've met politicians, Ukrainian politicians, yeah, that left Ukraine. That were in Tiraspol. You know Tiraspol, yeah? Tiraspol is a Transnistria. And that lived there, and they said this is a civil war. They feel like some of them like were married to Russians.
You met politicians from
I met people
Tiraspol?
too. I met people as well. They have Ukrainian membership. They have Ukrainian passports. Well, Ukrainian membership, Ukrainian ethnicity, Ukrainian background.
From Transnistria.
And,
You're talking about Transnistria though, right now.
yeah, but these are Ukrainians though, living in
But they
Transnistria.
don't even live in
with Russia.
Ukraine. They live in Transnistria, which has been Russian occupied since
Because
the 90s.
they can't. Yeah, because they support Russia.
Because the Russians sent the military in to take it over because they transferred a bunch of Russian speakers in.
My point is, these Ukrainians support Russia.
Wait, how would that be any different than like Israel placing a lot of settlers in the West Bank, then getting majority support in this part of the West Bank, then moving the army in and saying, "Hey, this is part of Israel"?
No, this would be the
that's
same.
Moldova.
No, okay, come on. This would be the same as Palestinians living side by side with Israelis and talking about, oh, these are our brothers. That would never happen, and like I'm pretty sure the Israelis also would not like a huge community of that, of intermarrying, of shared culture, going to the same church. Look, I mean, they're like going they're not even going to go to the same religious place because one is Muslim, one is Jewish. So exactly, it's not going.
I'm not saying these two things are exactly the same, but there's exactly 100% a colonial relationship between the Russians and the Ukrainians.
Man. Look, look, you're making shit up right now, as it is, man. Like these people would live together, like, and four of the.
You don't think I can like point you towards like colonial relationships where the colonizers also lived with the colonized? You don't think I can find you Native American women that married white man out in the Montana areas, and like there was like
really
there's even like a culture around that. You're not. I don't want to give you like basic American history.
Where was the Native American president of USA? Okay, you can.
The Native American. Okay, there was a Ukrainian president of the Russian Empire.
Yeah, not the Russian Empire, but of Soviet Union.
Okay, there was somebody from Ukraine that was in charge of the Soviet Union, but the Soviet. Okay, even if we want to go back to Soviet Union, Soviet Union's gone. We have Russia today. Has there been a Ukrainian president of Russia?
Today,
has there been anything but a Russian president of modern Russia?
Which modern Russia is from 1990, man. I'm older than modern Russia. The fuck you talking about?
Okay, but we're talking about modern Russia now.
What even?
No,
what argument even is this? Like Obama was president of the United States. Like,
but I'm just saying the vast history of these two people, right? That came from the same place, from Kiev. Yeah.
Wait, are you saying that the Soviet Union and like, are we gonna give these the same legacy then? So it's like Imperial Russia, Soviet Union, then Russia. We're gonna
it's a vast history of these two people living together, being neighbors, being sometimes antagonistic, being sometimes friendly with one another. It's like the French or the Scottish and the English or any of the thing like that. So
under the Russian Empire, the Ukrainian language was banned. How do you ban another people's language and have a friendly relationship with them?
What about the Scottish and the English, man? Like
yes, there was a colonial relationship between the English and the Scottish too.
Just to be clear, Scotland was not colonized by England, not recently.
Exactly.
Not for the last fucking 400 years. We've had like Irish people in the British government. I don't know what Obama was president of America, even though he's descended from fucking like Africans and shit. So like what? I don't really know what's the argument here. There are like Islamists in the Knesset. I don't really think that disproves the fact that Israelis and Palestinians have negative colonial relations, even though 20% of the people who live in Israel are Arab, and in some cities like fucking Haifa, they actually coexist fairly reasonably. So.
I mean, there's no.
But like, how do you? No, but please answer the question. How can I ban your language and have a friendly relationship with you?
Like, I mean, you're talking about just one czar, maybe sometime some millennia ago. Same thing with the.
Wait, you were just saying like. Wait, you were just saying, oh, the Soviet Union, that's like so close. Oh, we talk about the vast histories of these empires. This is less than 100 years ago, man.
But the Soviet Union banned the Ukrainian language since when was that? Was that Stalin?
Russian Empire. This is like
Oh, Russian Empire. Okay, Russian Empire. Okay. Well, I mean, look, they did a lot of. That's what I'm saying. They did a lot of bad things, a lot of good things. But I'm just saying that the same all over Europe. Same all over Europe. The history of Europe, but that is the same thing. So in the history of Europe, I would not going to say that France colonized
but the
Poland.
thing is, these have downstream
Poland?
effects. It doesn't just stop at like the banning of the Ukrainian language, and then they stop banning it, and then they had perfect relationships. Just because we stopped certain policies towards Native Americans doesn't mean like all the policies went away, or all of the bigotry, or all the effects of those policies went away.
No, because look, you're misrepresenting history. Because there was a time in European history when Russia was seen the hero of the East, because they were kicking out the Turks out of what is today Transnistria, Odessa. They founded Odessa. Odessa was never Ukrainian. I think they founded it from the Turks as well. They conquered it from the Turks.
You mean never Ukrainian? It's Ukrainian right now.
Oh, Ukrainian right now, but I'm just I'm talking back in the day. It was founded by the Russians anyway. But anyway, all these things.
What do you mean founded by the Russians? You mean they took it over from someone else?
But the Slavic nature of it, though, it's like the Slavic nature, and the Ukrainians that lived there was thanks to Russia. Yeah, it was not thanks to, and also they conquered it together with the Ukrainians too. The Ukrainians also, they made the bulk of their army. They fought together, and they colonized other countries together too. So to say these were so this is what I'm saying as a black man and as an Arab as well. That you misrepresenting that you're two Europeans fighting each other. It's like colonialism, the Arab and the French. Fuck you, man. It's
Why
not
would
the
you?
same fucking way.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Then. Let me ask you a question. If I went to your country and then said you can no longer speak your mother tongue, you have to speak my tongue. Are we gonna have a friendly? What's that relationship? Do you think these are brotherly people? If I went to your home and told you have to speak this way, also you have to learn my language. Also you have to standardize everything in my language. Also, we're gonna make your language the hillbilly speak. That's gonna be the stereotype we're gonna now associate with your language. We're gonna call you uneducated if you speak that language. And you do that not just with the language, but with the culture in general. That extends to the culture. The language is part of the culture. What relationship is this building culturally? What is that relationship? Is that brotherly? Because that existed during the Russian imperial period, during the Soviet period, and that exists today. When the Russians throw these slurs at the Ukrainians and talk about how backward they are and how dumb they are, this is coming from this legacy.
All I see is only one group of people is burning books, destroying statues, and banning a language, and that's not the Russians. That's
wait. What do you mean? Number one, the Russians went into occupied Ukrainian territory, took Ukrainian books, and burnt them. They did do that. They went into occupied Ukrainian. Yes, well, you didn't see it because you didn't pay attention. They also went to occupied Ukrainian territory and destroyed monuments to the Holodomor and other atrocities from the Soviet Union, and then reinstalled in their place Soviet-style monuments. To say, look, we're bringing back what they view and what the Ukrainians view as the empire. That's the message that's being sent. We're bringing this back.
Out of interest, Prometheus, why didn't you know that Russia was literally destroying Ukrainian artifacts and Ukrainian symbolism in cities and replacing them with Russian ones, like changing the street names, getting rid of the Ukrainian murals, getting rid of statues and replacing them, trying to have it, establishing plans to move settlers in, to rebuild and move settlers in? Why did you not know that?
It was all Bandera Avenue.
I'm just curious though, Prometheus, why did
Ukrainian author? They were all named Stefan Bandera. Fucking moron. Motherfucker, get the fuck out of here.
Why did you not know that though? Why did you not know that Russians were going into Mariupol and destroying Ukrainian cultural symbols? Why did you not know that?
Look, I know they destroyed certain streets and they renamed them after Russian ones, or that certain things.
But you said you only see one you said you only see one side burning books and shit. Sorry. Also, what the fuck is
are they banning
some of these?
Are they banning the Ukrainian language? Are they banning the Ukrainian language?
Is that all they have to do? Is that all they have to do? I mean, does Israel ban Arabic and fucking in the 48 borders?
Let me say there is a discussion in
xenophobia.
By the way, there is a discussion in the far right in Russia about, hey, in many occupied areas like Mariupol, when they come over and they make Ukrainian the elective because they're switching how the curriculum works over and centralizing Ukrainian and replacing it with Russian. there's a discussion of whether Ukrainians should even be allowed to be an elective, because in places like Mariupol, over 50% of the residents are asking for Ukrainian, which many see as a sign of resistance. And so there's a discussion: should we get rid of it? Should we keep it? Should we allow this language? And Russia has yet to move on it, but this is a real discussion happening amongst the far right in Russia, which is getting closer and closer to the centers of power.
Yeah, okay, that's not good. I'm not for it. But look, what I see as well, like there's people that and what was it, Latvia, was it Estonia? They were like basically kicking out like Russians that lived there for I don't know how long they lived, a couple hundred years.
Can I just say, I'm against kicking out people because they haven't learned the language, even in this time. I think on a personal level, maybe I'm just too Yankee, maybe I'm too liberty-pilled, whatever. But the reason why Latvians and all these people feel like they should do this, or they should at least make the people who live there have to learn the language if they're going to live there, is because Russia's used language as a weapon. I remember after not only in Ukraine, but in other countries as well. I remember when Kazakhstan started sending aid to Ukraine, state media started talking about, hey, there's a lot of Russian speakers in Kazakhstan, guys. I mean, maybe we'll have to do a denazification operation there. And that's state media. State media says a lot of things, but they have used language as a weapon. And so I think a lot of people feel threatened by that.
Just a heads up, the Kremlin has actually banned Ukrainian in Luhansk. So, and removed Ukrainian language books from libraries.
But all right, but going back to the question. All right.
How do you do this? How do you fucking swing and miss like a fucking Islamic Jihad rocket every time? And then you don't even bat an eye. No shame. You just keep chugging away. You're like, oh, here, Lonerbox, how about this thing? Well, that's wrong. Well, what about this? Oh, that's wrong as well. What about this? Well, that's wrong as well. Oh, why don't we just move on to that? How do you do it? No fucking shame.
I'm not moving on. The question is,
just be like, Lonerbox, I'm really sorry I spoke out my fucking rear end for the 8 billionth time.
Oh shit! Are you going to tell me that the hatred that Ukrainians and Russians have to one another?
You're changing the subject again. You're not even answering. You're not even engaging with.
That is the subject. That is the subject.
Let's be clear.
That is the subject.
You're not going to find one-to-one comparisons between any forms of colonialism or imperialism. The relationships are going to be different because the cultures that introduced the colonialism is different. The interest behind the colonialism is different. The history is different. But let's not tame down, because you came in here like, oh no, the deaths, it's not nearly as bad in Mariupol. Okay, that was wrong. The relationship with language was not the same. Okay, well actually the relationship with language is much more brutal. And then when you're told about war crimes by Lonerbox, like, hey, this theater that was destroyed had a bunch of children, it was horrible. Before you knew anything, you said you literally knew nothing, and you said, well, it's probably on accident. You knew nothing about it. The building was clearly marked on both sides. It said children, civilians inside. Drones could see it. Satellite photos could see the words. If satellite photos can see the words, the Russians can see the words. Don't call it an accident if you don't know what you're fucking talking about. Don't talk about countries you don't know anything about, man. And if you do hear these new things, just reflect for a moment.
How the fuck do you know that look, my guy, like, how the fuck do you know that wasn't a fucking artillery that shot that hit it? Do you know it was a drone?
Do we know who said what? You think Azov did it? You think Azov?
No, do you know it was a drone? No, do you know there was a drone? It was a shell? What it was? Like, no, it was
do you want to? You know what? We can take Lonerbox. We can take 5 minutes. We can just read through the article. We can describe every brutal part of it if you want. You know nothing about it. We can do that, right? I'm more than comfortable to do that.
This is about Israel and Palestine mostly, but what I'm trying to talk about, though, there is no way you can compare the apartheid regime of Israel and its hatred, talking about wiping out other people and the other ones as well, compared to Russia.
Is banning a language in occupied territory not apartheid? Israel's not done that in the West Bank. They haven't banned Arabic.
Are you telling me there's apartheid right now between Russians and Ukrainians?
I'm asking you why it's not. I'm asking you if it's not apartheid, even if they ban books and education and remove them from the libraries. Is that not apartheid? Do you think these? Do you think Ukrainians in these occupied? Do you think Ukrainians in these occupied territories are allowed to participate in the Russian polity right now?
Most of them actually in these occupied territories are Russian speakers. So like they.
I didn't ask you about Russian speakers. I'm asking about Ukrainians. Ukrainians who speak Russian don't necessarily want to be occupied by Russia. Actually, most of them oppose it. Yeah.
I mean, like most. Donbass, like what do you mean? The Donbass, they had their own militias to fight against the Ukrainians. They fought like before the Russians ever came in.
There were tiny groups of Russian separatists who were supported by the Russian military.
Yeah, how did those militias perform on their own? Like how do you think
Not
they got
good, but I'm just saying, but
and it was
they have
only
support.
when
They have
the
local
Russian
support.
military
They have local support,
intervened
though.
that they
No,
were
they didn't
able
have local
to
support.
stop the army in the ATO. That was the only time when the Russians directly intervened. And even before they directly intervened, they supplied them with guns, they supplied them with tanks, armored vehicles, artillery shells. I mean, yeah, if you give somebody all these modern arsenal and a state that is corrupt and decentralized and is in a period of panic, and then back them up with one of the most powerful militaries in the world, yeah, they're going to perform okay in a civil war. If you call it a civil war, I don't. It's an invasion, but
Okay,
whatever.
but even here though, even here in Europe, yeah, you see Ukrainians and Russians hanging out together. You see that even in the diaspora, which I don't support as well. Like there was something in Sri Lanka. They have the whites only club for Russians and Ukrainians, which I don't support. But even then, they hang out with one another. Yeah, so you see these people hang out with one another.
Was it Russians and Ukrainians? Did it say Russians and Ukrainians? So I only remember it being Russians. Maybe I misread the story.
No, I think it was Russians and Ukrainians. They try to kick out both of those people, but anyway, because they're all.
I don't
they're
remember
both
the Sri Lankan government kicking out Ukrainians. I only remember it
No,
being
they were
Russians.
trying to. I think it was both of them because white only. What does it mean white only? I think it was Russians and Ukrainians that created both.
Well, it was a Russian establishment saying white only. What?
Could be, I think so, but it was both for Russians and Ukrainians.
Look, that flipped again. My God, I'm sorry.
No, but they were hanging out together, right? In the white only club, right? You're saying that the owner was Russian
You're
only.
still trying to use the Ukrainians to do the colonialisms. Oh my goodness.
They hang out with one another.
We have Israelis and Palestinians who hang out in my Discord and in certain cities in Israel.
In your Discord, in real life, how many of them? Like hang out like together and like on the diaspora?
Right now, if you look at the relationship between Ukrainians and Russians, it's piss poor awful. I don't know if you saw the Olympics or like these different athletes or shit and how they're interacting. They won't shake hands. The Ukrainians a lot of times refuse to compete in competitions where the Russians are present or can play by their team. They are not happy with each other. In fact, I would say there was like for a lot of people, they do believe in this type of brotherly nation. Some few people still do, but that a lot of people call it a myth now. And the reason they call it a myth is because it was smashed. I mean, in 2014 for a lot of people, and then again in 2022, it was thoroughly smashed. There's not really any remnants of it in most of Ukrainian society. Only in like parts of occupied territory where the majority of the population has already left. I mean, if you look at the Donbass, 50% of the population is gone because the Russian occupation has been shit. It's been shit for the economy. It's been shit for the local government. A lot of dissidents have been murdered. Same thing within. I mean, it's been awful for the people there. I know a lot of people displaced from the Donbass that don't believe what you're saying they believe and have been displaced there for like 8-10 years.
Yeah, so it's a separatist region. It's a war zone. It's not. I'm not saying it's pretty over there. All right, moving or like going to the next thing though. That Ukraine has a lot of military equipment, right, from the USA, right? Whether it's air defense, whether it's I don't know, what is it, HIMARS you call them? HIMARS, everything, all that. So they have all those protection, and not only that, they have very safe corridors as well. Like the Ukrainians can go out. They have a lot of aid that can go and look over there. So, but the Palestinians are blocked in though. They're blocked in. They have no, like the Rafah crossing is closed off. They're not going to be. They can't become refugees in Israel, but then they can become refugees in Russia. The Ukrainians can become refugees in Russia if they're cool with Russians. See, there's all these things going on that shows that the brutality of the Israelis.
Do you think the Ukrainians who went to Russia went because they were cool with Russians?
I think they're cool with Russia. I mean, why would you go to Russia if you're not cool with Russia?
What about
I think some of them were
international
kidnapped.
criminal court case about the kidnapped children?
Well, like they moved them. Actually, I don't know if they were kidnapped. These were orphans. A lot of them were orphans to begin with. So I don't know if they're like you want them to keep them in a war zone.
You could let them go
under
west with
international
other
law, you're
Ukrainians.
supposed to transfer them to a third party if that circumstance is supposed to happen because of this exact situation where they stole them and then they transferred them to nationalistic Russian summer camps where they had to sing the Russian national anthem and they had to dance a little dance and wear Russian uniforms and they had to be indoctrinated. And then these Ukrainian families had to, in many instances, travel into the country that's invading theirs to get their children back. And many
at least they're alive. At least they're alive and safe. At least they're alive and safe.
15,000 children have been kidnapped.
At least they're alive and safe.
After being orphaned by who
But
exactly?
they were blown up?
They're alive and safe after being orphaned by who?
Is it
Who were
better
they orphaned by?
under international law, that's not what. Okay, again, why are you so like determined to make this oppression Olympics? Like, well, okay, so they stole their children, tried to indoctrinate them to being Russians, but they're not dead. Ha ha ha.
No,
What
I'm
is
talking
this
about.
supposed to be, man?
I'm comparing like what do you call it? What you guys talking about? Russia, the evil empire, the one that's been what do you call it, sanctions to death, that's been doing all that, is a fucking angel compared to Israel. And
An angel compared to Israel. Okay,
angel.
you're just deluded.
Mhm.
I can't.
Angel.
How do I talk to you?
Okay,
You're
you're saying
deluded.
you're saying
They
the
bombed
Russia's versus
aid
Israel.
runs. They've killed
Russia.
tens of thousands of people. If you were to include the estimates, it's over the amount of people Israel's killed in Gaza. Not to make a direct comparison, because these are very different wars. The geography is different. The capabilities on both sides is different. But trying to say that they're angels when millions of people have been displaced, people have had their children kidnapped, people had their homes bombed. POWs have been castrated. The UN says that torture is systematic for those detained by the Russian army. We've uncovered mass graves. The largest mass grave in Europe was uncovered in Irpin. Over 444 bodies in a ditch, man. What do you mean that's angelic behavior? Get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking
I said
about.
compared. What? Like you don't
No,
know
not
English,
compared
my
to
guy?
anything, man. Not compared to anyone that's angelic behavior. You can't dump 440 bodies in a ditch and say, oh, that's angelic in comparison to anyone.
What compared if you keep bombing children all the time and like they've blown their legs off and like, making fun
You
of them?
don't think the Russians have bombed children? They've bombed children too, man.
as much like 10,000 children has died, huh?
When the fighting was more urban, the Russian civilian casualty totals were through the roof. They were comparable, if not exceeded, what we're seeing now in the Gaza Strip. And when they were not in the urban dense environments, out in the fields, civilian death tolls went down, except for, of course, the bombing runs on cities like Kiev, Odessa, and otherwise. But that's because they're not fighting in urban centers anymore, which I think would probably be comparable if we were talking about Gaza fighting Hamas in the fucking, I don't know, the Sinai Peninsula.
I think it's also worth mentioning that Russia has a competent, well-supported army between them and most of these Ukrainian cities, whereas Israel's opponents are a bunch of fucking knuckle-dragging retards who just want to fucking hide in civilian infrastructure because civilian deaths in their territory actually works for them on the propaganda stage. So there are kind of like different circumstances when it comes to the kind of forces that people are fighting. Obviously, if there's a competent and willing army between you and civilians, you're not going to get as much access. But still, you haven't even pushed back on your very first claim. You haven't even proven that I was wrong about Mariupol, where it seems to be the case that at least 25, possibly 75,000 people were killed in one city of just over 500,000 people alone. You haven't retorted that.
Where is that coming from? I'm getting from Reuters.
That's from the Associated Press. You know what? I know people work at AP, man. I could probably get the people who worked on it too.
Yep, here, more than 10,000 new graves now scar Mariupol, the Associated Press found, and the death toll might run 3 times higher than an early estimate of at least 25,000. 25,000 times 3, I think, is 75,000. One city.
3 times. Might.
Yeah, that's
what do you mean might? The fucking Gaza Health Ministry numbers are might.
That's a range.
It's a range, exactly. And then they say 10,000. They don't say if that's military, that's civilians. But we all know
neither does
right
the health
now,
ministry. The Gaza Health Ministry doesn't distinguish between civilians and combatants either. I don't know why the fuck you keep doing that.
Kids, the 12,000 kids are like our kids. So like I mean,
how do you know that? Wait. How do you know that? Wait, the health ministry. Okay, you can answer this question for me. The health ministry said 70% of that 30,000 are women and children, right?
Even Israel said we kill 9,000 terrorists. So if they kill 9,000 terrorists, what does that look?
Just follow the question. I'm just using Hamas's numbers now. I'm just using the health ministry numbers. They said 70% of the 30,000 people killed were women and children, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then Hamas also said they've lost 6,000 fighters.
Mm-hmm.
6,000 is what? 20% of 30,000?
It's 32, but it's probably reaching 40
6 times 5
right
is
now,
30. No, this was at the time. At the time, it was 30,000-ish when they said that they'd lost 6,000 fighters. 70% of the total.
So that's correct.
So that wouldn't that mean that like almost every person who dies who is not Hamas is a woman and child? As in, wouldn't those estimates suggest that every single man who died, according to the health ministry's numbers, would be Hamas? Where's the in between? So you got 70% are apparently women and children, 20% are Hamas, and then what? 10% are men. How the fuck does that make any sense?
Well, I mean, like maybe not that. I mean, okay.
Maybe not that. Maybe those numbers are actually
okay,
fucking. Maybe those numbers are just pulled from the fucking propaganda machine that you swallowed because.
No, even though
that's what you did.
Hey, wait, you know what would really help? Tell me another guy who works for the Russians that tells you that they're cool. Can you tell me another one of those? That would help.
What do you mean?
I think that would convince me.
The point is not about like the convincing is that you're making up stuff that's saying that the Russians are like our colonial force. The Russians are doing an apartheid because they're banning a language. Even like so the Ukrainians are banning.
I didn't say that it was apartheid. I didn't say it was apartheid.
I'm just saying you can't ban a
No, I asked you. I asked you to explain why it's. I asked you to explain why it's not apartheid. You were the one who brought up banning languages as a start. You were the one who brought that up. Me and Dylan did not bring up banning languages as a supporting point. You did. And it turned out that you thought Russia hadn't banned Ukraine in any of these territories, even though they actually had, as opposed to Israel, which doesn't ban Arabic in their territories. So, yeah, you just kind of, there was one rake in the fucking, there was one rake in the entire fucking field, and you just face planted onto it.
That's it.
Israel ban Arabs? Like, there's no Arabs in Israel?
Barring 20% of their population. Some of them are in the Knesset.
Barring those 20, like, which were mostly actually your relatives, like the Lebanese Christians.
Most of the Arabs in Israel are Maronites. There's like one village where there's some fucking Maronites. What the fuck are you talking about?
There's quite a few. What do you mean? Like millions and millions of Lebanese Christians when they lost the war by sucking Israeli dick.
Millions of Lebanese
how many? Okay,
millions. I think in 2021 there were 3,500 Lebanese in Israel. By the way, not all of these people were phalangists or militants. Some of these people were there from the 48 war because Israel.
Those are just the official numbers.
Attacked villages up in the north as well, right? Like Jish and shit like that.
How many refugees, Lebanese Christian refugees, went to Israel?
You're so fucking dumb.
You're fucking dumb. The reason like there's so many Lebanese outside of Lebanon is because of Israel, and you keep like defending them like that. All right.
That's a really interesting pivot from millions of Lebanese Christians in Israel. You said most of the 20% of Arabs who live in Israel are Lebanese. No, they're not. They're Palestinian. The fuck, man.
Okay.
What's wrong with
Can't trust Loner though. He works for the Lebanese.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
But I mean, like when I try to attack you on there, like I mean, like three Zionists came up and like tried to defend you. But,
wow.
On your Discord, I don't know what that is about, but anyway.
Yeah, that's a really powerful retort there.
Zionist.
I can't believe they would be more convinced by me than the fucking guy who thinks there are millions of Lebanese phalangists in Israel right now.
Not phalangists, but they were part of the South Lebanese army anyway. But a lot of them, the family moved over to Israel. Probably a lot of them after that they went to France, whatever.
Sorry,
they got
let me accurately state your position. Millions of Lebanese people in Israel is still fucking wrong. It's so wrong.
Okay, fine. Sorry, my bad. Okay, you said when I made a mistake, I made a mistake. Okay, my bad. But there's quite a few Lebanese Christians living in Israel.
3,500.
Israel. Pretty sure they're more than that, but
probably since that was 2021. So there might, if you're lucky, there might be 5,000 now.
Yeah. But even them, like I'm pretty sure they got tired of the racism and they probably left to France or whatever. Like General Hummus, General Hummus, yeah. General Hummus, like they call him the
nice guy.
I know, like there was his name was Antoine Lahad. He was leader of the SLA, and then he moved because he lost to Israel, and then he got tired and then moved to Paris. And then I was in Lebanon. Actually, he tried to bring his body back to Lebanon, but the people said at the airport, they said we don't want that traitor back.
Wow, it's not really taking away from your millions.
Yeah, I was Sergeant Pepper.
All right, fine, Sergeant Pepper and everything. But I can't believe you guys still defend that Israel is apartheid, serious colonialism is the same with Russians and Ukrainians. That's just bonkers. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's not the exact same, but like you went in there to like downplay Russian atrocities. Like there's differences, of course. But like you did. You first tried to downplay how many people died. Then you downplayed the oppression of language. Then you said they were all like nice to each other, kumbaya. You said you saw the social media account was bullshit. Like no, man, you 100% went in here to downplay.
No, it's not about downplaying. I was just saying, like, look, number one can defend himself, right? Ukraine has, like, has a lot of weapons come from the West. One can defend itself. The other one is the country as well, and it's getting many weapons and defense and partners from the West.
That's
the war
true.
from the
That
West.
is true. That
is
the,
true.
the Ukrainians
I
get
don't
more
want
Western. The Ukrainians do get more obviously more weapons, Western support. But then here's a question: how do we get to a number of 25,000 to 75,000 dead in one city, even with that support?
I don't
What do
believe
you
that. I
think it
don't
would be
believe
like
that.
without that? What do you think it would be like without that support if they
I
did
don't
take
believe
Kiev?
that. I don't believe that.
Why
No,
not?
Okay,
even
then what do you
Russia-
think about the
I
mass
don't-
grave in Irpin, the
even-
444 bodies? Was that make believe? What about the one in
there's probably
Bucha? I saw
soldiers,
that
yeah?
one personally.
There's
I can tell you that one's real. You can't fool me on that one.
Are you telling me they're all civilians, huh?
I'm not saying every single one in the
exactly.
holes were civilians. The majority were civilians. Yes.
I don't think so.
You're not going to tell me the kids were civilians. You're not going to tell me that the women were. I mean, you're going to tell me the kids were civilians. You can't tell me that the women weren't civilians. You can't tell me that, man.
And they found dead women and children in
They did find. Yes, they found dead women and children. They also found people with their hands tied behind their backs. I mean, what do you think that was? Do you think they just
What kind
happened
of
to like?
what kind of
this is
retort do you think this
for
is?
some-
Wait. What kind of retort do you think this is? If someone came up to you and said, "Oh, you're upset about Gaza? How many of them are civilians?" Well, obviously not all of them are. What fucking response is that? It doesn't matter if not all of them are civilians. Not everyone in Deir Yassin was a civilian. That doesn't make it that doesn't make it less bad, does it?
No, I'm not saying that Russia didn't commit war crimes in Ukraine, but what I'm trying to say, even Vladimir Putin, he came out and said we have to live with these people. These are our brothers. Compare that, what the Israelis are saying, whether it's Itamar Ben-Gvir or what's the name, Netanyahu, or Isaac Herzog, or what's that crazy lady?
What's his
I
name?
forgot.
Netanyahu.
No, the crazy lady, like the crazy lady that wants to move.
The settler lady, Daniela.
Yeah, Gush Katif back in like she's like, yes, it's ethnic cleansing. Yeah, well, I like ethnic cleansing. Those kind of. I haven't seen that kind of.
Let me say that stuff.
I know you haven't because your social media
you
feed is
literally
fucking
just aren't paying attention, man. Dude. I have to watch Russian state media. I even read with the help of a translator Russian state media. If you listen to Dmitry Medvedev, who's the former president of Russia and head of the Russian Security Council, he's regularly calling for the leveling of entire cities. Solovyev, the #1 name in Russian state media, one of the most popular people in Russian news, regularly calls for the entire leveling of cities like Kharkiv, giving civilians only 24 to 48 hours of time to evacuate before completely leveling, block by block. You can listen to people talk about this stuff openly in not only the Russian state media sphere, but in Russian politics. Putin is the person that's supposed to be like, oh, look, I'm the level-headed guy at the top of this. He'll still lead into this stuff. But yeah, he's not the worst one among them, but there's a million type of Ben-Gvir people in Russian politics. Absolutely.
I
But he
don't
hasn't
think
seen
there's no, look, I'm
Not on your highly curated social media
Did you
feed.
watch? What? Tell me.
Not
I
on
mean, come
Quds
on.
News Network.
Can you just tell me you don't really know that much about Russian domestic politics or what they talk about? Do you know much about what they talk about?
Oh, look, I have friends in RT. I have friends. I have even Latin friends.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Now you got me. You convinced me. Those are some reliable sources you have. I didn't consider the RT people's opinion. I didn't consider the opinion of the people whose job it is to cover for the Russian government on what they think the Russian government's like. I didn't think about that.
These are not Russian. These are.
Hey, I'm going to bring in here the head of the CIA. He's going to tell you about his lovely organization. I think he's the perfect representative.
Okay. All right. So we're not gonna get any headways on that one. Moving on.
Yeah, because it was fucking stupid. Why would you cite me RT people as a source? Of course, you're not going to get anywhere with that.
Stupid. It is ridiculous that I had to argue with people that saying that, oh my God, like what Israel is doing is genocide and what Russia is doing is conquering a territory, like just to fight off, like is geopolitical. It's geopolitical, and it's not like it's not visceral hatred against two people, and you can see that. But you're saying, oh no, it's the same thing. Like this is not like people are talking about religious.
I've said multiple times it's not the exact same thing, but you're trying to make it not the exact. Because there's difference you can make culturally or how the relationship works, but you're trying to make it not the same thing by going in there and saying no, the Russian stuff is not as bad. They look angelic in comparison to the Israelis, but when you look at the bodies, that's not the case. When you look at the relationship with the language and their history, that's not the case. If you look at how the Ukrainians view it and how they view their relationship with the Russians, that's not the case. If you look at the mass graves, that's not the case. When you look at the policies implemented by the Kremlin and those in the political elite, that's not the case. And so just why can't you say it's different in these cultural ways or in these ways how policies implemented?
Like, I mean,
Instead of trying to downplay the brutality of the largest war in Europe since World War II.
And you're right now. Okay, like that's not the same thing. Look, what do you mean? Like Srebrenica happened, man. The fuck you talking about, man? Like there are Russians kidnapping Ukrainian women and having them in rape camps and impregnating them?
There is a problem with rape.
But, like, no, but are they kidnapping Ukrainian women and impregnating them so they can have Russian baby, which is idiotic in the first place with their Srebrenica and things, because, like, I don't think you're going to have Christian babies if you impregnate Muslim women.
There has been the rape of Ukrainian women, and there have been questions.
But is there a rape factory?
There have been questions about whether or not those refugees should go to Poland due to the fact that if they go to places like Poland, there's questions about whether they'd be able to access abortion and other stuff to get rid of, the rape fetus.
Is there a rape factory in Russia right now? No.
Is there? I need to give you a rape. I don't know of a rape factory. No.
What's the rape factory supposed to debunk?
Designated building where they bring all the people to rape. But we already have UN reports saying that mistreatment of POWs, including rape and sexual violence, is systematic.
Exactly, but there is no way near the same place with the Srebrenica, right? No, it's not. Or they're killing every young male, like it's not the same fucking thing.
I mean, like, I'm telling you, well, I never said it was the same thing, but I'm telling you that it is. I mean, they did bring us the largest. If you're trying to make this comparison, I can tell you that the reason why these mass graves are record-breaking mass graves is because the last time we've seen mass graves this bad was during the Yugoslav civil wars.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have that much war since the Yugoslav civil wars in Europe to begin with. Anyway, but what I'm trying to say...
Why do we have to be like 444 bodies at a mass grave? That's not... I mean, come on. That's not that much, guys. Why do we have to do... Why is that your goal here? Why are you going on the internet to be like, it could have been 600 bodies. It could have been 800 bodies. Instead of 400 bodies here, 300 bodies here. By the way, there's mass graves like this all over Ukraine. Just this was the largest one. These were sporadically all over the country.
Okay, got you. All right. I'm not denying that Russia has committed war crimes. All right. I got you. What I'm denying on your part is the rewriting of history. All right, that Russia colonized Ukraine, because it's not even like what they call like Braveheart and what's the name, Robert the Bruce in Scotland, as our friend, what's the name, Lonerbox. Yeah, it's not even that. Where's the Braveheart of Ukraine? There's not even that kind of story.
No, it was actually more like you could actually think of
there's multiple. What do you mean? I get what you're multiple. Next is somebody that people often point to. There's others. I mean, why is it Stefan? What about Petyola? What about the Ukrainian People's Republic? What about all the other people? Why is the only Ukrainian historical figure Stefan Bandera?
Because they worship him right now. That's what, like, even.
What do you mean they worship him? There is a specific part of Ukrainian political society that respects Stefan Bandera. There's other parts of Ukrainian political society that don't respect Stefan Bandera. If you were to go in American history, Donald Trump thought Andrew Jackson was the shit. There's a lot of other Americans like me who don't think Andrew Jackson was the shit. I mean, he won one war for us, but besides that, he was I think a piss poor president. That doesn't mean that now all of American society has like a cult of necessarily Andrew Jackson.
Did my audio just melt down? What the fuck? Hang on. Wonder what happened there. Weird.
Something me.
Okay.
What group did he belong to? What was the slogan? What was their slogan? Their slogan was also
the slogan was used before Bandera or these groups were even founded. It was used in Ukrainian poetry and Ukrainian music, and then it was taken up by Ukrainian Nationalist Organization in the 1910s, 1920s, 1930s as a national slogan, and by other authors as well. And then since then, it's been used by tons of people, and now it's a generic Ukrainian slogan.
Yeah, but
I mean, if you went to America, God bless America is used by everybody, but like people could say that without having any necessary political connotation with it. You could just be a blessing to the United States.
No, but his was the first military force that used it. It was the first military force that used it.
Why does that matter? Why would that matter if it's already a popular slogan?
because look, he was one of the biggest rebels. He was the Braveheart of the Ukrainians. Yeah, he was a Braveheart.
What do
of the
you? Why are you
Ukrainians.
making him the? This is the problem. The Russian government has fought for years to make Stefan Bandera the biggest Ukrainian historical figure imaginable.
I mean, well,
the bigger Stefan Bandera's image is, the more they can try to downplay all of Ukrainian history.
He's not the one building statues for him.
They did, but dude, let me finish my sentences, please. When were those statues built? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me of that. Sorry, I let him lie by accident.
I was just saying,
so it
Slavna
wasn't used by
Ukraina
him
was
first.
used.
Where did you get that claim
before
from?
Bandera
Why'd you have to lie to me,
in the
Vinny?
war of
Why?
independence. Sorry.
You were so confident about it too.
Okay, whose group was that? Who?
That was the Ukrainian People's Republic. I mentioned them earlier. I didn't know if you know about them. That was the first time Ukraine was kind of an independent state. It was in the early 1910s.
It's another Hamas rocket misfire, but anyway, carry on.
Alright.
What about Taras Shevchenko? What about Taras Shevchenko? He was, by the way, that was the poet that wrote the poem, by the way. If you didn't know where it came from. It's not just him, it came from other places too, but that was in the 1860s, and I don't believe Bandera was even alive yet.
Yeah, but okay, so the 1917 it was an autonomous Ukrainian People's Republic, and then
yeah, that's what Wikipedia say. Thank you for reading the article. I appreciate Destiny's skills are spreading, man. He's teaching many.
All right, cool.
You're a disciple of the Destiny School of Debate, I see.
Look, I hate Destiny, man. Don't compare.
Nah, man, I think you should go teach under him because you're doing his debate strategy, but much poorly and way after you should have.
There's no way to. Okay, we're done with that one. But
I bet we are.
So? Okay, so with we're seeing that we're gonna get in like the bombing of the Iranian embassy. Are you guys support of that one? Or
okay, so are we done? Are we done with the win? I mean, I don't need to be here. I'm just here as like the fucking Ukraine goblin. I come under a bridge anytime somebody says the country.
Well, I want you to say it because you're a pro-American guy. You're a pro-American
let me be clear.
guy.
I can tell you very clear. I'm against bombing of any consulate or embassy unless there's like an imminent terror attack about to be emanating from that consulate or embassy. I'm against it in any instance except for that specific one, and I don't have evidence that happened here, so I by default would have to be against bombing the consulate. But
okay, so
now here, but wait, before I go, before I go back under the Ukraine bridge, okay?
All right.
So you didn't know anything about Ukraine, huh?
That's
like nothing.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know
you knew nothing. Like in every single conversation, we would end with the conclusion that you had either surface level knowledge or you probably got all this from your buddies at RT, which I'm starting to come to that conclusion.
Oh, look.
How much of your buddies, be honest with me, how much have your buddies from RT influenced you?
Okay, you rewrite history. You talk about you didn't give me any colonial country where the leaders were Ukrainian, or where the leaders were like Algerians or African. France.
Dude, I was talking to you about the Russian Empire. The Soviet relationship still had legacy of imperialism, but it wasn't the same type of empire. But point is, look,
the Russian
you didn't
Empire, there's no fucking.
Can you just admit you don't know anything about this war? Can you just say that you didn't know about the death tolls? You didn't know about the war crimes. You didn't know shit. You shouldn't talk about countries you don't know about.
I'm not going to say that. Maybe you have more knowledge than I do, but you're misguided. And because not only that, because you're a lefty.
You're in the unfortunate position. You're in a very unfortunate position. You're in the unfortunate position where I have all the knowledge, but somehow I'm wrong, and you have none of the knowledge, but somehow you're right. That's very unfortunate.
Didn't you hang out with people that had I was watching one of your episodes, yeah, where you hanging out with a guy that was looking at Stefan Bandera, who had a Stefan Bandera.
Yeah, it was a Kraken soldier. Yep, and he's not the only one I've interviewed that probably respects him. I also interviewed a right sector soldier. That's because I cover all aspects of Ukrainian political society.
Okay, so
but to say that represents the mainstream norm when I'm specifically going out of my way to interview Kraken and to interview right sector would be dishonest.
Look, Azov is one of the best. They have a battalion now, or brigade? Yeah, they graduated now. They have their own brigade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, these are exactly. So you can't tell me.
So we're talking about like 5,000 soldiers or something around that length in an army of 800,000 to 1 million, and they're about to draft more. And then, by the way, let's just talk about the Azov of 2014 is very different from the Azov today, if for no other reason than the fact that they had to take in a bunch of normies.
But okay, are you also satisfied that in the future these Ukrainians are are more conservative and more right wing, yeah? And in the future, like their
Then
diaspora,
they're more conservative than the United States. Absolutely. I mean, around
yeah,
things like gay
exactly.
marriage and stuff like that. Yeah.
They're probably not as conservative as Hamas, though, eh?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I haven't been. I have yet to be told I will be put to death for liking cute boys and cute. I don't think that's the case. No.
No, but these are in Europe. So in the future, like the diaspora of however where this war goes, yeah. However, which way this war goes, even though Ukraine is using territory. However, these people are going to come out, yeah, military trained, and they're going to go into Western Europe. A lot of them, and they're going to use their military tactics or whatever, and they're probably going to work for CIA or whatever, and they're going to swing the vote more right wingly. They're not going to swing the vote to the left side. Yeah. And lastly, though, I want to talk about
the vote. Wait, sorry, what was the vote was going to go to the right to who?
They're going to influence politics in general to the right. They're going to influence politics to the right. They're not going to influence politics to the left.
I really don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I mean, as
Europe is becoming more militarized.
I think that on stuff like certain social issues like gay marriage, that'll probably be the case. The Zelensky government's definitely aiming towards the area of liberalization of the economy, so it's probably going to be maybe more libertarian economics, but that depends on Zelensky winning re-election. But when you talk about Azov and right sector as political forces, they have fallen off super hard. The national, I know the Azov's party doesn't have a seat, right sector doesn't have a seat. I think the only far right party that has a single seat is Svoboda, and they have one seat out of 450. So when we talk about the parliament and the influence that's going to have on European politics, I just don't see it being of that far right direction. Will it be more conservative than the United States? Yeah, they don't believe in I don't think they're much for. I don't see many drag queen story hours in Kiev, but I mean that's not what we're talking about, is it?
No, I'm talking about these people with the military knowledge, with their military skills and etc. And a lot of them are going to be in Western Europe. They're going to be maybe protecting Uncle Sam's. A lot of them, whenever the war is over, they're going to be protecting Uncle Sam's interests in Western Europe.
Oh, sorry. Here's a question. I know exactly what you're hinting at, but you're never going to say it.
Do you think, oh no, they're going to be friends with America? Yeah, okay. You can take this over, Loner. Okay, I'm not going to.
The question is, do you think the Ukrainian right are going to coup a government in Europe?
Oh, I mean, they might. I mean, you know the Operation Gladio, right? Do you know Operation Gladio?
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think you genuinely believe that Ukrainian refugees in Europe are going to coup any of the European governments.
Refugees, but the well-trained military people, like the Cubans that we well-trained as well for the Bay of Pigs.
How are they going to do this?
The Ukrainian army.
Why? How are they going to do this? Why are they going to do this?
They're going to I'm just saying, they're going to do what Uncle Sam tells them to do, whichever.
That's nonsense. That's
why would Uncle Sam want them to coup a European government?
Right now, there is a diplomatic spat between the United States and Ukraine over the fact that the United States is not happy with the fact that the Russians might not be able to participate so much in the international oil market, and the Ukrainians say, "Hey, I like the environment. Let's blow up all the Russian oil terminals and all. Oh boy, this is going to be real fun." Now they're still holding back. They're not blowing up the transfer terminals or the transport ports that could really break down the Russian economy. But yeah, there's spats here. Or during the Euromaidan protest movement where Victoria Nuland wanted them to make a deal with Yanukovych, and the protesters said, fuck that, after 100 people died. The idea that Ukraine's just going to subserve America's interests when we've seen that they've gone their own way when they need to in the past, I think is nonsense.
These soldiers, number one, Ukraine is bought and sold, but if you're willing to have autonomy, good for you. But second thing though, USA has cooled the Greek government, yeah. USA has stood by with the British and gave the go-ahead to Turkey to invade Cyprus and take half of it because they didn't like Archbishop Makarios. The people that killed, what's his name? The Italian Prime Minister assassinated. Who's the name? Italian Prime Minister assassinated? Aldo Moro, that's his name. They say probably was Gladio because he was trying to bring in the communists into the main political party. He was trying to create a union government. So there's many things.
You don't think? Do you think policy can change when you've got two superpowers in a bipolar situation versus now? Do you think that's what you think though? Apparently, Ukrainian military people are going to start cooing communists in the fucking European countries.
There's no communists anymore. But I'm just trying to say it though. But these people would.
We're gonna coup the Greens.
No, these people would do what for the behest of the American government because they're skilled, and like most of the time, these kind of skilled people don't just go away. Just like the Cubans.
In your
for a
opinion,
long
when was
time.
the last time the United States did this?
What, crude people? Just recently. What do you mean, in Africa?
No, I mean in Europe, with like to get rid of communists.
I mean, yeah,
used militants to get rid of communists.
There are no communists anymore in Europe. What the fuck are you talking about?
So what then? So they haven't done this in quite a while in Europe, right? Probably because the order has changed. The world's in a
Ukraine,
different
probably.
place. Ukraine. You think
Really?
America cooed Ukraine?
Is that 2014? Is that what you're talking? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Wow, you got me there.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that time where the government murdered a bunch of people, so the Ukrainians said, for Uncle Sam, and charged the buildings.
Dude,
They said, for French fries, hot dogs, and baseball, and charged the building.
Well, they could have said that. That should have been what they said. But anyway,
Why did the Ukrainians reject the government deal that was offered by the Americans? The Americans wanted that Russian guy to stay in, but just to take in a few of his opposition guys into the government. Why did the Ukrainians reject that if they were just being led by America? Do you have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about?
yeah,
No,
I know what
okay,
you're
that's
talking
fine,
about. Like,
whatever.
no, I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
that is a sliver of what the rest of the stuff that was going on.
What's the rest of the stuff that was going on?
What do you mean? Like it just came out there were CIA bases in Ukraine or the CIA labs.
One thing
all
at a time. CIA
The
labs.
CIA labs? Dude, you've 100%
CIA
bought into all this bullshit, dog. What the fuck? Your information stream is super fucked, man. You need to like rebuild from the ground up. The fucking biolabs are bullshit, dog. The Russians haven't presented any evidence. You're literally buying in. You would have fought for the Bush like weapons of mass destruction thing. I mean, this was even dumber than that. They just said they had biolabs to target Russian DNA, provided no evidence, invaded, and have since found 0 biolabs. And you still believe this shit? Dog, you need to rebuild from the foundation up, man. You need to start over. Return to sender, man. Return to sender.
To be fair, there was actually a biolab. Remember those guys in Kharkiv? They were studying ectoparasites in bats.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Anyway, though, what on to say though?
Anyway.
Oh, look.
Anyway, after I just fired at the fucking 14th failed misfiring Hamas repurposed
Hey, man, you guys
dusty
don't want to,
dildo
you guys
rocket.
don't want to, you guys don't want to. Anyway, look, I mean, why are you so like so self-hating Arab anyway? Because all the time talking about Hamas. This,
Just so you know,
Arab
yeah,
that,
I'm glad you,
I know you don't want to go back to the Middle East, but anyway, but like I know you're such a self.
No, yeah, I'm glad you moved the argument to that because that is all you have. You have personal insults, quasi fucking racism, as if all Arabs are supposed to believe the same shit. Yeah, that's all you have. You have no opinion. You have no solid opinions. You have no logical arguments. You're a fucking what? Hamas is being anti-Hamas, anti-Arab.
It's like my favorite insult. I'll call you a knuckle dragger. You are a knuckle dragger, man. You're a fucking moron. You're a window licker.
You're a window licker. Anyway, but what to say though? Okay, so
good comeback, man.
If Ukraine is getting all the support, military support by the West because it's getting invaded by Russia.
We're going back to this one.
How come why no support for Palestine?
Do you think, because I don't think Hamas are very responsible with weapons. They tend to just use them to run around fucking kibbutzim and setting fire to houses and then running away and hiding behind civilian infrastructure and then screaming to the international media when there's
Why not support another group then? Why not support another group then?
Which particular militant group in Palestine do you think right now is like militarily responsible?
You can find another, I mean, look, you can find another one. PFLP,
the fact that you're PFLP, they were involved in October. What the fuck does the PFLP do? Hijacking planes. You want to go back to that?
Well, look, if you give them weapons, I'm pretty sure they won't be hijacking planes. Though.
Didn't they participate on October 7th?
No, I don't think so.
No, they did. They did fuck all, but they were there. There's a couple of them kicking around.
I mean, like, where do you see? There's no proof of that. So, like, why are you making them shit up? Where does it look? They said PFLP. We were on October 7th. We participated in it. There's nothing that came from their page that say that.
Maybe they lied, but they said they were involved.
Where does it say that? Where, like, do you have a website of them or something like that?
Yeah, hang on.
I mean, like that.
It might have actually just been PFLP GC, or was this it? Who are the Hamas's allies? The national. Okay.
Hopefully it's not in Arabic. But
They
I'm on
are
the website,
pretty
though. Anyway,
but they're pretty small. PFLP.
a statement shows the population price on March 28th. Yeah, very good. This what is what they say.
But again, what do you think the PFLP are going to do differently? What kind of militant action do you think these groups would do that would actually help Palestinians?
It's okay to arm Nazis. It's okay to arm neo-Nazis and etc. But it's not okay to arm people that have suffered under occupation and colonialism for decades.
When you say arming Nazis, do you think is there any evidence that the Ukrainian army are participating in like anti-Semitic violence in Ukraine? Are they burning synagogues? Are they fucking doing pogroms? They've been getting armed for like 2 or 3 years now. They haven't done any of that. So that arming neo-Nazis thing is a ridiculous claim. It seems to be all the Ukrainians are doing is fighting with Russian troops. That's what they're doing.
Fuck you, I mean, a lot of them were having the waving the Nazi flag and talking about.
I don't care if they're waving flags. If you're talking about them being neo-Nazis, the problem with neo-Nazis is not that they have flags. The problem is that they kill fucking Jews and minorities and try to conquer countries and massacre civilians and shit like that. That's the problem with Nazis.
They massacre civilians, but the point.
The Ukrainian army has been massacring civilians. They've been going across Russia's border and fucking storming little Russian villages, setting fire to houses and shit.
The Donbass,
where they were fighting against Russian separatists, yes, and the Russian military.
And the Odessa building. What was that building? The theater they burned.
I'm guessing. Sorry, I'm guessing
Figure it out first before you talk about it, okay? Because I've read the UN report. If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it. But before you bring up something to the topic, please, I'm just a warning. Just think about: do you know anything about it? Do you know any more details than somebody else told you before you bring it up? Fair warning.
All right, yeah, the Odessa theater.
Okay, so the Odessa theater was during street violence when like some pro-Russia people, a lot of them gangsters and thugs, decided to attack some Ukrainian guys, and that of course pissed off the Ukrainian guys. And so the Ukrainian guys got their own weapons, and then they started fighting with them. Many of them had knives, guns on both sides, and then a lot of the Russian nationalists piled into a trade union building, and then they had Molotov cocktails, and somehow a fire started. And we don't know if it was one of the Russian nationalists throwing a Molotov from the inside, if it was somebody from the outside that lit it. There's never been a full investigation. There should be a full investigation. The UN report calls for a full investigation. But when people talk about it, they say it's like a massacre, like they rounded up all the Russians and murdered them, when it was street violence that got out of hand, like a riot.
But yeah, but it still doesn't excuse it, though. It still doesn't excuse.
Well, no, but it also didn't excuse the Russian nationalists from attacking Ukrainians protesting in the street, which caused the street violence in the first place.
I think it's a bit telling that all your strongest examples are just these like pitiful examples like this. That this was your example of Ukrainians massacring civilians. This is a real thing
that there should be an investigation into. Like, the UN does talk about like people trying to stop investigations, but this is bad. But this is the worst we're getting to, and you didn't know anything about it. And we're talking about like street violence that got out of hand here.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
A little different than a wait. Would you say that's a little different than a mass grave of 444 people?
We're talking about Hamas,
majority of whom are civilians.
We're talking about Hamas and Israel again. Like, we're talking about Hamas.
We're off of the trade union building. We're back. We're jumping continents like it's nothing, man. Oh my God.
No, look.
Don't playing. Where's Waldo from each argument? Which country when they end up in today? My goodness.
We're talking about why we're not supporting. They're talking about why not.
So now we don't need to talk about Odessa or the trade union building or like. Okay, well, you know.
Well, because the problem is that when you give Ukrainians arms, they stand between Russia and conquering more Ukrainian territory. When you give Hamas arms, they start an unwinnable war and get 30,000 of their own people killed, and then go on fucking Channel 4 and claim to be winning the war because the propaganda is making Israel look bad. That's probably why you arm one but not the other.
But okay, so like all the dead children that Israel is doing, we should just let that go. We should just like let it happen and just support them, huh?
Hamas said that they are winning. You're talking about arming Hamas. You're talking about arming Palestinians. Hamas said that they are winning because those deaths are making Israel look bad on the world stage. That's what you want. You said, why don't we arm Palestinians? That's what you get when you arm Hamas. You get dead Arabs so that fucking shitheads like you can dance upon their graves and fucking grandstand over everyone else and call people fake Arabs for not agreeing with your suicidal fucking death cult bullshit. Yes. What
do you mean? Like, and Ukraine can take on Russia?
I feel like Ukraine's actually doing a pretty good job at stopping Russia from conquering Kiev, right? Or the rest of Ukraine. Russia is like the second most powerful military in the world, and they are getting they're in a stalemate against Ukraine.
They're not in a stalemate, but
Really, has the border moved that much in the last year and a half, or
it's
what?
not a stalemate. It's not a stalemate either way. It's just
Well, I mean, if
still
they
moving,
continue to capture territory at current rates, it would take them, I think, 15 years to get to Kiev at best. That's at the highest rate of moving, I think. I
We'll say it's a very slow advance rather than a stalemate.
do you think the Ukrainians would have enough men for 15 years? Even now, they're fucking suffering, man.
Well, I don't think the Russians would have enough men for 15 years. I don't think they'd have enough equipment either. They can't replace. Do you want to talk? Okay. You've reached another fork in the road. Do you want to again talk about the logistics of the war, something you probably don't know a lot about, or let's stay back to Gaza so you don't embarrass yourself again?
Look, my guy. Would Ukraine run out with men first, or would Russia not run out of men first? The
Ukrainians have less men, but the Russians are losing men at higher rates and are losing equipment at higher rates. They've lost like 40%. They've lost like 40% of the Russian tank arsenal, and we're seeing Stalin era tanks rushing positions on the front. That suggests to me that if the Ukrainians were supplied sufficiently, it could get to the point where Russian equipment will be literal garbage if given enough time and given enough effort and given enough support. And hey, I'm not saying that's 100% the outcome that will happen, but that is something that can be thought about in reality. Hamas is not going to take Tel Aviv.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, so look, man, we can't get along on anything, so I have to move forward to a different question.
Why didn't you just take the fork in the road? You've humiliated yourself again, dog. Just stop doing it.
Who ran out of steam first, Russia or Afghanistan? That was when they were the Soviet Union. Anyway.
Yeah, the Soviet Union ran out of steam because of economics, because of many things. Yeah, there was like a whole lot of plethora of things on that one.
Also, being the invader just makes it harder in general, right? Because you have less to fight for than the people who are defending themselves. But, yeah.
No, but the Russia's fighting for survival too, because this is an existential threat.
No, this has nothing to do with an existential threat. What the fuck are you talking about?
But I mean, like, if
what's going to happen to Russia if they get pushed back over the border? You think Ukraine's going to invade Moscow?
The entire collapse. Like the entire Russian.
Why would it? They didn't have Ukraine in 2013, and everything was fine. No, why do they need Ukraine now? They're the largest country in the world. Why do they need more land?
NATO would be more next door. NATO would impose.
NATO's already next door. They're in Finland. They're in Sweden. They've gotten closer because they invaded. They've made the threat larger.
They would lose their Black Sea fleet. They would lose their Black Sea fleet as well. They would lose their.
They're already losing the Black Sea fleet. They've lost 30% of it already. If they keep up this war, they're going to lose all of it. Yeah,
but they can't lose. What if they still hold the area, right? They still hold that area. Whenever the war is over, they can rebuild.
Why do they need the Black Sea fleet? Why is this necessary, or Russia will collapse? They didn't have it. I mean, like, why? And why couldn't they have negotiated a treaty to stay in the Black Sea fleet in 2013? They could have. The Ukrainian government, the new one, offered to negotiate Crimea.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did. Yes, you did.
No,
I can. Okay. Our Enemies Will Vanish. I recommend that book. Another one would be, I think, Ukraine: Rise and Fall of Nations. That would be another one I'd recommend. It talks about it in detail. I'm trying to give you a foundation to build from. I'm trying to give you a foundation to build from. Okay, because your foundation's garbage. It's ass.
Look, man, you're just a NATO cocksucker, man, and you're a NATO cocksucker. That's what you are, man. That's what you are, man. That's what I have to say. Yeah.
No shame.
And that's why you like
just keep chugging away.
Exactly. Yeah, look, no, because he has no fucking shame, man. Look,
let's recap. I can probably list about 10.
It's not even about NATO. It's about I want the Russians out of the country.
Dylan, you're in my stream, okay?
Okay.
I feel like we could probably list about 10 or 20 things you've got wrong in this debate. Which point do you think you've made so far in this debate that's actually been correct?
Okay, well, I just want to make this point correct, okay? That you guys have to choose between either Ukraine or Israel. Which is your puppy? Because America.
It's not even a point. That's a fucking question.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you guys have to. It's a point, but my point is, though, you can't support both those wars, though. I don't know. I know you, Dylan. Do you support the Gaza war of Israel?
Do I support Israel? I don't think Israel's doing anything to make long-term peace. I don't think we should send them any weapons.
All right, fair enough. So you think that we should clamp down on Israel and keep supporting the Ukraine war, but I think which is more dangerous because afraid of facing a nuclear army.
Israel has a nuclear arsenal. Do you think if Hamas do you think if Israel's existence or they thought Israel's existence was a threat, they wouldn't use nuclear weapons? You don't think Netanyahu would, or Ben Gvir wouldn't encourage him to?
Who would threaten them, though? Are we threatening them? Or I don't think Iran would be a threat to them. I mean,
It's not a question of whether. This is the thing that I think is hard for people to understand. It's not a question of whether if we think we threaten them. It's a question of they think they're threatened. It's the same thing for the Russians. If they're going to use a nuclear arsenal, it's a question. Like, for example, there's a question about like first shot policy by the French to like scare the enemy to make them know they're serious if they cross some red line. The problem with that policy could be if there is a first shot that goes off, the intention for the French is to scare the Russians and make them think that their safety is at threat. But if they fire it off and the Russians think nuclear war has already started, then they're going to fire off everything. It's not a question of what we think is a threat to them. It's a question of what they think is a threat to them. So if Israel thinks that their existence is at threat, they might use nuclear weapons. So I mean, I would say that the Russians don't need Crimea to exist, but it's a question of whether they legitimately would think that is the case.
Yeah, I think that's the only warm sea fleet. So I think
it's the only warm sea fleet. Why couldn't they have a port along the other coastline that they already have with the Black Sea? Why do they need that one? And why couldn't they have negotiated it in 2013, like I said earlier?
Well,
like they already had the Russian government, the new Ukrainian after the government was after the Yanukovych fled after helping murder 100 people. The new government said that they were willing to negotiate the issue. Yes, and then the Russians took over Crimea.
Yeah, because they were fucking bluffing. They were fucking full of shit. The
new government was full of shit. You think the new government with maybe 12,000 actual functional soldiers would have just completely ignored the Russians in every capacity and said, you know what, we think that we could hold you off, second most powerful army in the world with our 10,000 guys.
They were playing games. They were saying, oh,
they were willing to negotiate because they didn't want to get invaded, and then the Russians invaded. Yeah, but no, that's on what do you mean exactly? Yes, they were willing to secede the Russian demands because they were scared of Russian violence. Then they got the Russian violence anyway, even if they were willing to negotiate.
What Ukraine in 2014 did was switch pathways, right? They want to become closer to EU, closer to NATO. So if you're closer to NATO, there is no fucking way you're going to have a fucking Russian Black Sea
Number one,
fleet.
it wasn't
majority
about
of
NATO. It
Ukrainians
was about
didn't
the
want to join
EU.
NATO.
Stop, put NATO out of your conversation here, because we're talking about the Euromaidan movement, which was about the Eurozone. That's why it's called Euromaidan. They wanted to enter an association agreement with the EU, which the Ukrainian government had been negotiating for years, and Yanukovych said on the campaign trail that he would do. Then in the middle of the night, once everybody was at home sleeping, he reversed it because the Russians held up trade on the border, coercing them economically, which they promised they wouldn't do in the Budapest Memorandum. Yanukovych, scared of the economy going under and scared of what the Russians might do, ends up seceding to them in the middle of the night and reversing the policy. It was done in the middle of the night to suppress protests. Student protesters went out. They were beaten brutally. Flashbangs were covered in nails and screws and throws in the crowds. Then when those images were blared into every home in the country, more protesters came out. The Euromaidan in Kiev Square expanded. It blew up in Kharkiv. The Auto-Maidan happened, and the rest is history because they started murdering protesters and tried to outlaw protests. It got out of control. Then Yanukovych fled. That's what happened. Then that new government wanted to negotiate with the Russians because they understood the position. They understood what would happen if they went to war with Russia. The Russians understood the Ukrainians were now unstable, and they took advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Got you. But not anyway. But we are going back. I forgot to ask you the question, Lonerbox. You skipped that one. Who do you support more, like the supporting Israel or supporting Ukraine?
In terms of arming?
Yeah, and so
I think Ukraine needs the arms more than Israel does. Yeah.
So if push comes to shove, you would abandon Israel instead of Ukraine?
I don't think I would abandon them, but definitely prioritize
I mean, you have
Ukraine.
to. I mean, that's what. If you're overstretched.
What if I'm forced to choose?
Yeah.
Oh, Ukraine.
If you're overstretched,
Ukraine needs the weapons more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But what I'm trying to say though, that I'm pretty sure America is going to choose Israel over Ukraine. So that's what I'm trying to say, that with this new war that's going on with the bombing of the embassy, if shit pops off with Iran, if shit pops off with Lebanon, your home country, I know you want your home people to die as well.
No, I actually don't want them to die. I'd rather Hezbollah didn't start a winnable war with Israel. No, because then Lebanon would probably get fucking razed like they did in 2006.
No, but
wait, why the fuck did you say that? Like, do you think Hezbollah should attack Israel? Or should they
I'm
stop?
not saying that. No, I didn't say that.
Should they stop? Should they go over the litany and just govern like normal people? Should they do that instead?
No, dude. Israel right now is off the chains.
No, yes or no? Should Hezbollah keep firing rockets at Israel right now or not?
No, they shouldn't. I mean, okay. Right now, they should, because the war in Gaza.
Okay, so you want Lebanese people to die? I don't. Good, thanks.
But Israelis have said they want to have their security. So if they want to have their security, they say we have to take care of Hezbollah too. Yeah.
Yeah, because Hezbollah are attacking them. If Hezbollah didn't attack them, then Israel wouldn't have a security threat with Hezbollah.
Because they're committing a genocide in Gaza, man. Look, and they don't want to have peace in between. They don't see the fellow Arabs in the Middle East.
Okay, how is Hezbollah helping Palestinians in Gaza right now?
I don't know. Look, I mean, you can have to talk to them.
They're really not. They're just not. That's why you don't even know. They're not helping. They're just making. They're just doing a little bit. They're just doing the bare minimum to make it look like they're doing something. That's what Hezbollah is doing.
Where do you think all those weapons came from? Where do you think all those training came from? Where do you think all this
Hezbollah's
military? I mean, like one of those pipelines is from Iran.
Yeah, I know it's from
Syria.
Iran. Yeah, Syria. Yeah.
Yeah, Iran, Hezbollah. That's in Iraq as well, right now.
That doesn't answer my question. The question is, how is Hezbollah's actions right now helping Palestinians in Gaza?
They're not supporting them. They're not supporting them. What do you call it? They're not doing. What do you call it?
Enough
direct conflict with Israel. They're not doing direct conflict with Israel. They're not doing any of that. I'm pretty sure they're doing other ways and what we don't know about to indirectly support Palestine.
Okay, but you're not going to. I'll ask the question again. Why?
How am I supposed to know?
How is Hezbollah helping people in Gaza right now? I can explain how American arms are helping Ukraine right now, but that's quite easy. How is arming Hezbollah?
They can do that because America is an empire.
So the question is how is Hezbollah's actions helping people in Gaza right now?
Look, I don't know what to look. It's a shadowy government. It's a shadow.
Their actions aren't shadowing. There are fucking Al Jazeera cameras going. There are Al Jazeera cameras filming all the fucking time, all day of the strikes going back and forth in Lebanon.
Okay, they do that, but like I'm pretty sure there's other shadowy stuff they do as well, which I don't know about. You don't know about. I'm pretty sure that even the Israelis don't know about. So how the fuck am I supposed to tell you? Yeah, like what Hezbollah is doing is good.
So you think they are helping, but just in a way that no one knows about.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they do all this stuff. I mean, they do the training, they do the military support, they do all this kind of stuff.
Well, the military stuff is public. How do we know the military stuff is helping then?
Well, I mean, like what were all those guns that was in Palestine? All they're helping with the Houthis as well with the drones and.
How is any of that helping?
What do you call it? It's making the.
That literally started like the arms that went to Gaza. That's what started the war. They used those fucking arms to start the war on October 7th.
You think if they didn't start, like nothing would happen, like everything would be copacetic and kumbaya?
It wouldn't have been kumbaya, but I don't think Israel would have invaded Gaza to try and remove Hamas. No, because they weren't doing that before. Hamas were there before October 7th. I think Israel, for some reason, out of the fucking blue, I guess, they changed their minds and decided that they were going to fully occupy Gaza and completely eliminate Hamas. And it's just a coincidence that they made that decision right after Hamas launched an attack on Israel. Anyway.
No, but I understand, look, you can't expect people to be dogs for the rest of their life, man. You can't expect that. Do you expect Palestinians
I'm not expecting them to be dogs. There's a spectrum between being a dog and then going out into the fucking kibbutzim and just like massacring civilians and gunning down a bunch of hippies in a festival.
I mean,
it's not a fucking binary choice.
Look, my guy, I mean, you're a spoiled Arab living in the West, man. You've never been in that situation, a dire situation before, so I can't expect you to understand that. But anyway,
I can understand why people are angry and they feel like they need to take action, but that's not the question. The question is not, is it understandable that some Palestinians feel that way after watching their relatives die in a fucking cut the grass operation and having no citizenship and no state and they can't move anywhere, living under food insecurity, permanent refugee status? Of course you can understand why they're angry. That's not the question, though. The question is that anger being channeled and being addressed by leaders in an effective way? Well, no. They have bad leaders. The leaders make bad decisions.
Yeah, but Israel is also an unimaginable, incredibly powerful force with the support of the U.S. empire. That's the problem as well. Like, I mean, when we don't do anything to alleviate that kind of, and not only that, though, these people are like, and the Israelis as well. It's they have a messianic, manifest destiny. whole beliefs. So they are zealots. They're religious zealots as well. Like, so that's the problem as well.
Well, the problem is the messianic thing isn't really being applied to Gaza. They're not expanding settlements into Gaza. That wasn't the problem with Gaza. The problem wasn't expansion of settlements. That's not been an issue for like nearly 20 years now.
No, but like they don't want to expand the Gaza settlement, but they were still holding it like in a chokehold. Though they were still holding it in a chokehold. They were still holding it as an occupied territory.
Why were they holding it in a chokehold? Why was the blockade? Why were they doing that? For no reason?
Yeah, the block. Look, my guy. Look, that's what I'm saying. All these like.
I'll give you the answer. They were doing it because Hamas were using humanitarian aid and fucking every resource they could to not build any kind of like anything approximating a reasonable like civil society in Gaza. They were using their resources to build fucking dusty, shitty, unreliable, fucking repurposed dildo rockets that basically get fired into Israel and then get responded to without any defense mechanism, without any shelters for their civilians, or without any kind of like plan B, because their whole strategy is attack Israel, don't really achieve anything, don't achieve any occupation of territory or anything like that. Just attack them, get hit back, let your civilians die, and then go to the international community and ask for support.
Okay, the Palestinian Authority gave up its struggle, right? The PLO gave up its struggle, right? And now look what's happening to the West Bank. Is that a good thing? What's happening in the West Bank right now?
I don't think it's good, but I think it's probably preferable to Gaza. Yeah.
So you're thinking that being a house slave is more preferable? This was I had an argument as well with Destiny.
You don't need to talk about analogies, okay? We can just talk about what they're doing. I'm not saying that what the PLO are doing is perfect. The PLO have plenty of problems as well. But it's not,
like, that's what I'm saying though. Like, so I just
don't know why. I don't know why we can't even. I feel like you're only asking this because you don't want to commit to the first point. We haven't even established a foundation that what Hamas does not help.
So neither does it look.
No, wait. That's all. Wait. So are you acknowledging that? Can you just? Are you acknowledging that what Hamas does doesn't help?
What Hamas does? Well, at least they do something though. That's what I'm trying to say though. At least they do something. So like, I mean,
that's not the fucking point. That you can make things worse. If something is broken, you can break it more, right?
But like, there's nothing, and you're doing nothing as well. You're going to get slowly eaten.
We're not talking. Stop. I'm not asking you to compare it to anything. We can get to that stage of the conversation, but we have to establish a foundation that what Hamas does either helps or doesn't. And you're not giving me a straight answer. That's why every time I ask, "Does Hamas help?" you say, "Oh, what? So it's better to just do nothing and die?" Well, no, obviously not. I'm just asking you if what Hamas does helps.
So I cannot criticize somebody look. I cannot criticize a freedom fighter that is fighting one of the most powerful militaries in the world, and because I don't know what.
How is it freedom fighting? What freedom is being achieved by that? Is Gaza any closer to freedom now than it was in 2005?
Okay, what is your answer? What is your best answer? Okay,
we're not at that stage of the conversation yet. We can get to that stage. I just need a straight answer from you about whether or not Hamas helps or not. I don't know why the fuck you can't answer that.
Yes, they help. Okay, they do at least something.
Okay, so what's the point in discussing anything else if you can't if you are stuck on this problem? How does Hamas help? How is life in Gaza better now than it was since Hamas took power in 2006?
Because I think at least if they die, at least this is going to be wounded knee. I mean, they died fighting. You know, they didn't just get slowly.
Okay, so it's
they're
more
going to give an honorable death to the Palestinian people.
It's more poetic to you.
Shut up, man! You supporter of Nazis, man. Just shut up, man. Like,
so that's fine though. That's fine though. Yeah, you like it.
Mariupol, the brave Nazis the brave Nazis of what was it, like a military? What steel was the steel in Mariupol? Huh? They died like you were taking. Oh, they were.
Hey, maybe you should figure out what it is before you talk about it again.
Was this a Nazi mural that the Russians replaced? This little girl holding a teddy bear. Maybe it's like a idyllic. I guess she's dressed like a kind of like Lebensraum rural person. Who knows? Anyway, sorry. So the way that Hamas helps is that it makes spectators like you feel nicer that they died in a more poetic way.
Like, it's not about me.
You hate Arabs. You want them to fucking die because at least you'll sit there going, God bless those brave soldiers who fought for their freedom. Like sitting there fucking writing the eulogy and crying about how pretty the wording is on the fucking tombstone.
Do you go to the cenotaph every year? What was that? Like, it was a Heroes' Day in England and Britain?
No, I don't go to the cenotaph every year. No. Why?
Okay. I was just saying, if you did that, you'd be a fucking hypocrite.
Okay, what's that? I almost had a point there, but I didn't.
No,
well.
because they celebrate the glorious dead that fought for Britain.
Well, the people who fought in World War II were fighting to defeat Nazis, not to just die so that spectators could say they did it in a nice way.
Well, who are these people fighting? They're fighting for their land and freedom against which are.
No, they're not.
Like,
do you think Hamas
zealots.
do you think Hamas started October 7th because they were expecting to claim territory?
No, they are. I don't think they were.
No, they were not expecting to claim territory. Of course, they fucking weren't.
No, but at least they were trying to do something. They could do anything unless, like, unlike the West Bank, just get slowly swallowed up, And they wanted to die fighting like a man. And look, it is what it is, man. Like I can't judge because I'm not in the same position, and I don't have a better.
Well, we're not talking about
answer.
judging the people who are radicalized because of the conditions they live under. We're talking about their leadership. The leadership of Hamas are not. They live in fucking like hotels in Qatar.
Well, any leadership lives in better position than the soldiers, man. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, so
man?
we're not saying like I can understand why they feel that way because there's no other alternative and they're all traumatized and shit. Well, that you can say that about people who like live a really fucking rough life and they see their loved ones die and they want to join a militant group. But we're not talking about them. We're talking about the leaders who made the decision.
What do you mean?
We're talking about their leaders.
Well, yeah, exactly. Khalid Mashal almost got assassinated by poison, man, in front of his own daughter. Abu Jihad got shot in front of his own daughter too. Don't tell me that the Palestinian leaders, most of them who are dead right now, 6 feet under, don't tell me they don't take a risk in their life, man. They're like being a Palestinian leader is not a like what's the name?
Do you think Hania is suffering right now?
I'm pretty sure he's suffering. I mean, like I'm pretty
in
sure
his little hotel room.
So look, living in
the people going on the people going on the Channel 4 interview saying that Hamas is winning right now because I know 30,000 people are dead, but it looks good in the press.
Oh my God! Leaders in the White House, at least better than Zelensky and going on the fucking what's that like the.
Bro, this dude lives on a. This guy is sitting on a fucking throne, saying that they're winning the war.
Man. How is it? He's not sitting on a throne, man. The fuck do you mean? What throne?
Look at this chair. It's got to cost as much as a fucking Gazan hospital.
Fuck, that is no way. You're spreading Israeli propaganda now that he's worth $7 billion.
I didn't say he was worth $7 billion. Why did I say that? You can't accuse me of spreading Israeli propaganda and then say something that I never said, right? What?
But like you're about to say like I'm pretty sure you're about to get close to say like now he's worth $7 billion. Okay, but there's nothing wrong with a revolutionary leader living in a higher position because that's what leaders are supposed to.
There is something wrong with him encouraging his people to go and get fucking killed with no protections in place for their civilians as they fight an unwinnable war, and then going to the Western press and claiming it's a victory because the high death toll is making Israel a bit unpopular in the world stage. There actually is quite a lot wrong with that. It's the kind of thing that you would do if you hate Palestinians. If you think it's worth sacrificing tens of thousands of them for a war with no fucking tangible ends so that you can basically get propaganda points on the world stage. There actually is quite a lot wrong with that. You think it's okay because at least it lets you sit there and cry and hold your fucking hand to your heart and say, at least they died like men. Fuck off, dude.
That's the American position on Ukraine. That's not the revolutionary position on Palestine, my guy.
Ukrainians are actually holding off an otherwise invasion of the entire country. So yeah, Ukrainians are actually kind of doing what they set out to do. Russia was moving towards Kiev, and then they got pushed back. That's a tangible fucking victory.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure if the Palestinians were getting all those weapons as well, I'm pretty sure there would have been some
What more kibbutzim would have been fucking raided and people slaughtered? They'd have got a few more. They'd have a few more fucking music festivals. Maybe a few in the north as well. Maybe they would have bust up some fucking nightclubs in Tel Aviv.
You would have seen a Palestinian state, man. You would have seen a Palestinian state.
Yeah, because clearly the amount of fucking like fighting that they've been doing for the last 75 years has got them much closer to that.
All right.
Anyway.
Last question. Okay, what is your problem with crystal ball, man? I had to answer this question. What is your problem with crystal ball?
I saw one segment of hers that I thought was a bit silly. It was just like quote sniping and kind of dumb shit. It sounded like she was kind of.
Why do you hate other leftists, man? That's my problem with you, man. Why do you hate other leftists, man? You're always on, except Destiny and Dylan Burns. Actually, Destiny's not even a leftist. He's a fucking. He told me last time.
He's a liberal.
He's a liberal. He's not a leftist. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not a leftist. And he's also a prostitute. But anyway, like
wow, ho ho.
No, but he said that
I'm your
himself.
token leftist friend, Loner.
Yeah. I like some leftists,
Okay,
just
but
as long
what's
as they're not fucking cringe and advocating for shit that gets Palestinians killed so that they can soy out about it on Twitter. As long as they don't do that, because I'm an Arab, and I like it when Arabs actually live and when they have political goals and ambitions that are
like
actually
dogs.
tangible and achievable. It's not living like dogs. What do you think's happening in Gaza right now? How do you think they're living? Because of what
You
Hamas
think you're
did.
living better
Because of a war that Hamas asked for. Because of a war that Hamas wanted.
Like I'm pretty sure.
Whilst their leaders say that they're winning.
Anyway, what's I think you should respect Crystal Ball because Crystal and Kyle are the
I like Crystal.
They're
I've
the
been on
power
her show.
couple.
We've gone quite well. I just don't like it that
Oh,
Kyle
really?
is supporting the fucking Houthis and shit like that. Yeah, that's kind of silly.
No, because why not? They're supposed to support revolutionaries.
Because
man.
they're not helping. It's not a It's what, an Islamic revolution. Not all revolutions are good. They're fucking. What's revolutionary
Islamic
about them
revolution?
attacking fucking
Islamic
attacking merchant vessels and kidnapping civilians? You know, there's 25 civilians on that ship still haven't been found yet. They're still being held captive. I don't really know how that's helped the people in Gaza in any way. Has it?
I mean,
No, of course it hasn't.
They're
That's
doing.
fine.
They're, I mean, what are you doing to help get the Gazans? At least they're doing something, man. Stop criticizing people that are doing something.
No, they're making it worse. That's what they're doing. They've like what's happening in Yemen now. What happened in Yemen after they did that? They've got fucking bombed, of course. And even China and Russia didn't vote against it in the Security Council because even they thought that what the Houthis were doing was fucking retarded, like just attacking like international trade as if that was supposed to help, and kidnapping people on a fucking boat. A bunch of what was it, Filipinos or some shit? Jesus Christ.
Well, I'd say they are the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce of the leftists, so you should leave them alone, man. Because we don't have anything else after Vosh. He and his love of horse cock. So we don't have anything more. So you should respect.
Well, maybe they've got you guys. Maybe they've got you. You're going to be the rising star with your anyway. Wait, that claim's not good either. Oh, anyway.
No, but I have to have a power couple. They have to be two popular power couple. Who are you in love with anyway? You seen an Israeli girl or anything?
I love my family.
Oh, fuck me, man. You have no girlfriend?
No.
No boyfriend? No boyfriend?
No.
Maybe you and Dylan Burns could get can get hooked up and be a genuine power couple.
I'm not homosexual. He is.
Really?
I will let you know that your gay shipping fantasies do flatter me.
You hear that, Lonerbox?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do flatter him. Yeah.
Why are you thinking of Why are you thinking of gay fantasies of different streamers?
It's not gay fantasy.
It is a gay. It is. You're trying to match up different men together.
Like
and it's literally a gay fantasy.
Being a matchmaker doesn't mean I have a fantasy for you guys. Jesus Christ, man! Being a matchmaker doesn't mean I have gay fantasies. I was just being a matchmaker. I thought he was gay. I thought you were gay too.
Gay fantasy matchmaking.
No. Yeah, no, it's not fantasy matchmaking. But I thought he was gay, so that's all. But so since we don't have another power couple, man, I think because I don't know, man, leftist women, we don't have a lot of them, so. I think you should leave Crystal Ball alone. You agree?
No, I'll critique her when I think she's wrong, and I'll praise her when I think she's right. I've done both. I think that's actually the better way to respect women rather than just default fucking praise. No, that's silly.
No, because we don't have a lot of them though in the leftist sphere. I don't know for what reason, but we don't have a lot of them, and especially.
I think Crystal Ball is going to be fine if I criticize her sometimes. She's doing pretty well.
No, I think what he's trying to tell you, Loner, is that women can't handle criticism, and that's the point he's trying to get across.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say, man. Anyway, it has been fun talking to you guys. And Loner, you're still on hot ice, man. I'm still not as sure about you that you're not a Zionist supporter, man. You're a secret Zionist, but because last time I was talking about that I was part of Irish Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, you just shut me off. But anyway.
Well, was that the full sentence that you gave to me?
Yeah, like I was telling him, I'm part of Irish Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. He just shut me off, man. What the hell is that about, man? You can hang out with Irish Palestinian Solidarity Campaign, but you can probably hang out with IDF personnel, though.
Wait, let me find that. I don't think you're being too honest about the rest of that sentence.
I am. Yeah,
I think you said, I am connecting with a fellow leftist here. I, Palestinian Solidarity of Scotland, and others would like to have an in-person debate with you on why you keep shilling Hasbara propaganda as a leftist. Don't call out the liberal destiny when he, at this point, licking the balls of Israel. And lastly, why the fuck is it when I call you out that 3 Zionists spring up to defend you? Yeah, that's probably why I didn't reply. You were muted at that point. Fucking crazy fuck.
No, because I was pissed off by you, because you like, I mean, like, it's just like just full of Zionists on your fucking page, man. Like, well, some of them told me like to burn myself, like, what's his name, like the airman, and Destiny even also made fun of him as well. Like, I mean, it's not cool, man. Like, it's every people. Like, this is what I see with this situation right now with Israel and Palestine. This is the crux of what it means to be leftist, or what it means to be.
Yeah, but I think to you, like a Zionist is just someone who disagrees with you. Like, I don't even.
No, okay, not even a Zionist, okay, but like, this is the crux, though, all right? Like, if you're a leftist nowadays, if you're for rebellion and revolutionary, or if you're for the status quo or the establishment, so that's what I feel like this war is about, even more so than Russia v Ukraine.
No, the problem actually is that whilst there are plenty of legitimate criticisms against Israel, the shit that their government is doing in the West Bank right now and using the cover of war to expand settlements at an unprecedented rate, the fact that their bombing campaign in Gaza is just seems to be being done with so little consideration for human life and collateral damage, and the fact that they are very tolerant of high numbers of civilian casualties, the fact that they are seemingly quite neglectful over trying to establish humanitarian corridors in the north of Gaza, which might actually lead to quite a large number of people starving to death, the fact that they don't seem to have any conceivable plan for what happens after they get rid of Hamas, the fact that they've like literally been like they've engaged in practices where they've got their own hostages killed, the fact that they just fucking hit some aid workers, and that's the stuff that's like really public and they take ownership of, which says very little about what they might actually be doing to Palestinians as well, suggesting it's probably worse. There are all these criticisms that you can make very clearly against Israel, and the fact that they are a country that's taking quite a lot of money from Western European and American powers is worth a very interesting, an important conversation. But we can't, like, it's never going to come from people like you. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, it's gonna come from people that are establishment, hang out with Destiny, that licks Zionist balls, that talks about, that makes fun of the guy like burning himself to death, that keeps shilling for Zionists for every chance he gets, that hangs out with fucking neo-Nazis like Lick Fuentes. I mean, like, and then who also said himself as well, like, if he wasn't a streamer, he would probably just sell himself as a prostitute, man. So I don't know what the fuck is going on, man. Like, so that's my fucking problem.
What the fuck was that? Why can't you just? Why do you have to deflect every critique? Why do you have to deflect every critique of yourself at like other people? Or what the fuck? What was that response?
That's the kind of people you hang out with, and that's the kind of people you think that are good for leftist discourse nowadays. You know, it's just nonsense. Because, look, I'm not advocating for violence or anything. I'm like,
when did I start floating Destiny as the one who's going to be there to call out like the Israeli shortcomings?
No, but
I don't know. I thought personally, I thought you would probably look to people like Haaretz, or even just like quite a lot of reporting in the Western press that seems to be taking up critiques against Israel quite seriously now, or even a lot of these humanitarian organizations. Like, for example, the fact that at least 2 of them now, probably more, have actually just paused their activity in Gaza because they don't trust Israel to provide them safe passage. There are lots of advocates out there that actually do have reasonable critiques to make of Israel and like pretty strong things to say about them. Even actually, I don't agree with them on everything, but like that Mustafa Barghouti guy even sometimes gives like reasonable challenges. But yeah, that's just you is just like, it's good that Hamas are doing something, because at least if Palestinians die in the tens of thousands, at least they died like men. Okay, before, even though some of them aren't even men, they're fucking kids.
Because you didn't give but you didn't give any retort or any ideas of what they should do better, or what is the pathway to peace, or what should the Hamas leadership or any Palestinian leadership should do. You don't have no idea. Like I said, I have no idea, so I can't criticize them for what they're doing. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, So, but you say you give no answers. You give no.
Okay,
no
yeah, I can
ideas.
give you a couple.
You give no
For one,
solutions.
I don't think people in Gaza have a military solution to their problems. If you believe that, you are fucking delusional. Okay,
That is okay. That is
it
a
would
not,
be
but that's not a solution.
It would be much easier, I think, for Hamas right now, and there would obviously still be challenges. But if Hamas before October 7th had focused on economic activity and trying to actually build some kind of like a cohesive like civil society and democracy within Gaza, even after the PA and like the rest of the world was snubbing them, I think you could have had a much better result than you have right now in Gaza. It wouldn't be ideal. There'd still be a lack of statehood and all that shit, but it would be far better than what they've got now. As for the PA and the PLO, I think there are absolutely instances where Palestinians are justified to use violence and self-defense against settlement expansion and against settler aggression. Of course, they should be allowed to use that. It's a fucking military occupation, whilst also at the same time having a leadership that is willing to speak to Israeli leaders who are willing to engage in some kind of peace process, and maybe using that opportunity to see where exactly your population is at, maybe being able to establish relationships with the rest of the world to put more pressure on stopping the expansion of settlements. It seems to be that even American governments are actually interested in that notion right now and using physical executive actions to try and achieve it with the sanctions on the outposts. Yeah, there are definitely actions they can take, but the idea that all those actions also advocating for things like BDS, I still support that, especially in the West Bank. So there are quite a few different things that people can do from within and from without Israel and Palestine. But all of that kind of sits on a basis of acknowledging that they do not have a military solution to this conflict anymore. They haven't for a long time. And the problem with trying to say that they still do is that the only thing you achieve from it is what you're saying. Well, yeah, it'll provoke the most insane fucking batshit reaction from Israel. Tens of thousands of people will die. And then a Hamas leader will go on Channel 4 and call it a victory because it's good propaganda. And then you'll say, oh, it's nice because they died like men, even though most of them probably aren't even old enough to be considered men.
Yeah, but you're the one that keeps accusing for all the murders, anyways. But a question to actually to Dylan Burns is here Dylan there?
Did you didn't engage with anything I just said?
Look, yeah, I said with another anyway.
I said, look, I hear you out. You gave me your solution. I got you. All right, I got you. I got your solution. It was not that much of a solution. It just keeps you as the status quo.
No, I don't think it's. How is that status quo?
Oh, what is the status quo? Like BDS is status quo. What else is status quo?
BDS is not status quo. BDS is like it's illegal in some states.
I'm gonna go get a drink. Tell me your question when I get back.
Status quo was not American presidents putting sanctions on settlers and outposts. That wasn't status quo. Status quo was not status quo was not like armed militant like Palestinian groups who only focus on self-defense and like infrastructure targets as opposed to like the Hamas style of killing basically whoever. That wasn't status quo. Status quo was not Hamas stopping with their fucking stupid rocket shit and actually like allowing for humanitarian aid and infrastructure and things like to be built within Gaza that don't justify things like the Israeli blockade on the international stage. None of this is status quo. I don't know why you would say that. Status quo is, well, at least before October 7th, was Hamas just keeps firing ineffective pot shots. Israel reacts disproportionately like a bunch of fucking psychos, and then a bunch of Palestinians die, and then there's a ceasefire, and then you wait again for another few months until it's broken by one side or the other. That was status quo.
Like, okay, you support like... Oh, yeah, but you support like white boys like you're defending themselves, or white boys like getting armed and like fighting back. But like when it comes to Arab, just be good little boys, Did
I not just say that I supported self-defense for people who are facing settler violence and expansion in the West Bank?
How would they defend themselves if they're under Israeli occupation, if without arms and
I mean, some of them do. Some Palestinian groups do actually use arms to fight against settler violence. What are you talking about? They do. Sometimes this does happen, and they have a right to do that.
That ember, all right, that ember would grow. That ember would go, and that ember would go into a fucking wildfire, and we would have the same thing over again.
Hang on, let me just. I just need you to acknowledge. Do you understand that there is a difference between an armed Palestinian faction maybe defending their fucking olive grove against violent settlers with a gun? Do you understand that there's a difference between that and paragliding into an Israeli fucking festival and killing 200 people? Do you see these two acts of? Do you think these are both acts of self-defense, or is one a lot more clearly defensive than the other.
But what I'm trying to say, dude, my guy, though, like, that the self-defense in the first place, maybe, okay, like some Israelis will come over to settlers, they'll like fight with the Palestinians, and then they'll get into a firefight. Some Israelis will die, and then the IDF would come in with their, I don't know, with their drones or something, kill these people, or bomb a wedding accidentally, and then other clashes would come, and then some guy from the wedding would get pissed off that his wife died, or his brother in the wedding died, and then he's going to murder some fucking take a bus hostage. So this is how the whole thing crescendos in the first place. So what you're saying in the first place, even there, like, would crescendo.
But that's why people who have these urges
over again.
That's why the people who have these urges need leadership. That's why, for example, even though it's something like South Africa or even like Puerto Rico at some point, where there are a lot of very, very legitimate grievances and people who want to escalate and kill just whoever, but they have leaders who realize that if they're going to achieve something, they need to focus their violence and their activity in a way that can actually yield tangible results. That's why, for example, with Mandela for a long time, the ANC's approach was to target infrastructure. And even though sometimes the ANC did kill civilians, the response from the ANC, albeit sometimes a bit late, was to acknowledge that, to apologize for it, and to move away from people who were engaging in that kind of behavior. That's a very different approach to what Hamas has.
You know what? There was 23 years with the war between ANC and the Cuba and other countries bordering.
Not in South Africa. This was in Namibia and Angola, right?
Yeah, the border wars, but they still did incursions in South Africa, and they did also some operations in South Africa.
Yeah, so if Israel goes into fucking invade Syria or Lebanon, then yeah, there'll probably be more of a justification for direct military conflict. That is not the same as paragliding into a music festival and just killing whoever with no real anticipation of achieving anything beyond, I guess, you start a war, you get public attention, and when your people die in disproportionate numbers, at least you get to say it's good, like, propaganda. It's kind of different. How many civilians did the ANC kill within South Africa during apartheid? I think there was like a 10-year period where the ANC killed like, what, 70 people?
I don't know.
Because that wasn't their main goal. Their goal was not to just target indiscriminately civilians. They didn't have suicide bombers and fucking shaheeds and shit like that. Even the worst of what they did, like the necklace thing, that was often to people who, from within the movement, who they thought were collaborators. Like it was other black people that mostly happened to.
But what South Africa is doing as well is not even compared to is even worse than what the Israelis are doing too. So I mean, they're both were pretty in a dire situation. One is even worse than the other, so the other one is worse than the other.
I mean, South African police opened fire on protesters, killing people in the dozens.
Yeah, South Africans they throw people from the airports as well. So they
forcibly evicted like 3 million people to try and move them into the Bantustans. It was pretty fucking rough.
Yeah, they threw people from helicopters too. They told them a helicopter ride. They had
and the difference is that the ANC had leadership that actually knew how to channel those grievances and that activity into something that could get them somewhere. Hamas, I don't think has that.
The thing is though that South Africa didn't have a buddy in the United States after the communism fell down, but Israel still has America's balls in its hand. And for some reason, and they have messianic purpose in Israel. So South Africa is not a messianic place for white people, but for Jews, it is a messianic place with end times fucking biblical nonsense.
So this has nothing to do with comparing the ANC to Hamas, but we can move on to what people can do about Israel instead if you want. If you want to just dodge that question.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. I compared the ANC to Hamas as well, but they're two different beasts. Yeah, they're two different beasts. They're both revolutionary beasts, but they're two different beasts facing two different things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like their enemy's not the same. That's what I'm trying to say. So they attack their enemies a different way. And look, one of them is in a more dire situation, it's a more desperate situation, and it has suffered much longer than the other one as well. So, anyway.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. Black people in South Africa? South Africa was under Dutch control since what, the 1600s or 1700s? The Battle of the Blood River, when was that?
Was it the British first?
Battle of the Blood River was 1800s. No, yeah, black South Africans were fucked for hundreds of years.
Okay, my bad then. The Blood River. Yeah, it was British first, and it was your buddies in the first place, man. Blame your people in the first place.
That was the Dutch and then the British, wasn't it?
No, it was the British then the Dutch.
Oh.
That's why the That's the Africana, like that's where the concentration camp came from. Because when you concentrated the Boers, as they tried to rebel against the rule.
I thought the British came in and pushed the Dutch up north, but it's been a while, I guess. Wait, hang on. You're not wrong, are you? Dutch colonization 1652. I am doing the Destiny tactic. This is Wikipedia, but Dutch colonization was 1652. British at the Cape. No, the British were after the Dutch, weren't they? Am I completely... Like the Dutch before them, the British initially had little interest in the Cape colony. Yeah, it was Dutch first, British second. This is where you say anyway and try to call me a shit Arab or something.
No, but I was thinking, no, because the Dutch are saying they were fighting for their freedoms too, so I thought it was pretty weird. I thought because maybe they were there first and the British came and tried to stickle their thing, but anyway.
Anyway, okay.
Whatever, I can't say anyway now, that's my fucking call sign, man, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, no.
Last one, and then we finish, okay?
Okay. Okay, cool. So this question is for both of you guys. Between the Moscow attack, right, the ISIS-K, why is ISIS-K attacking Russia while Israel is fucking burning down Gaza right now and killing their fellow Muslims?
Is that for me or Dylan?
For both. Dylan first. Dylan is the Eastern European expert.
Why is ISIS-K fighting Russia? I mean, Russia supports Assad, who doesn't like ISIS, just like every other faction in the Syrian civil war. ISIS is supporting a lot of regimes in Western Africa, different parts of Africa, that is fighting different factions of ISIS. Russia has a lot of land that has Muslims in it, like Dagestan, Chechnya, many of them with ties to historic Islamic extremist organizations, so they might feel like they want to liberate ISIS. I mean, you can listen to the Iraq news agency. They released a press release, and I think they talk a little bit about
what is going on in Chechnya or what is going on in Dagestan right now, this is not the 1990s, man. It's nowhere near what is going on in Gaza right now. So my point is, yeah, we have seen videos of Benjamin Netanyahu visiting Jabhat al-Nusra fighters.
By the way, I think the reason might be because, like, I think number one, it's a lot probably harder for them to get into Israel to do one of these types of attacks.
No, but you don't have to get into Israel though. You're an international organization. You can attack Israel anywhere you want to.
I mean, they can attack an embassy, I guess, but they attack a lot of countries. If you look through ISIS-K's history, they've attacked like fucking African, like random ass African countries, like tons of places. Like Russia is like one of the largest military forces in the world with Muslims in its land and influencing Muslim politics around the world. ISIS-K has interests.
Yeah, but as right now, as one of the biggest fights is going on between Israel and actually, like, this is what I found the strangest thing, that ISIS
if your question to me is why isn't ISIS doing something like better with its time or smarter with its time, or like why isn't fighting?
No, but like, it is just strange. It is strange because I don't like ISIS to begin with. Like they discussed me, but my point is though, why hasn't ISIS in all of its lifetime has never attacked Israel? It is strange, and what I'd say, like, there's something shadowy going on over here. That's my point. Not only that,
there's something shadowy going on over here.
Yeah, of course.
What's the shadows? I don't see them. To me, it's clear as day.
Okay, well, we have British support for what do you call it, Libyan terrorists that overthrew Gaddafi? Yes or no?
Are you saying, wait, are you saying ISIS have never attacked Israel?
Yes.
You sure?
They have attacked Israel in some instances. I remember because I remember at one point I thought ISIS had never attacked Israel. I was like, has ISIS never attacked Israel? And then I said that, and then I got corrected for it. So yes, they have attacked
2017,
Israel.
they claimed responsibility for a stabbing attack in Jerusalem for one.
Oh my God, a stabbing attack.
And automatic weapons. So,
wow, a stabbing attack. Oh no, boo, just a stabbing attack? Who cares about that? Have you ever been stabbed before?
Three guys armed with, they claimed responsibility, so.
No, but was that, I'm pretty sure they just called themselves ISIS. Like, that was not probably just ISIS, the main group. But okay, going back to what Netanyahu.
No, wait, that's not what ISIS claimed responsibility means. That wasn't a legit enough
stabbing attack. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Not enough stabbing victims.
No, it's not, because I don't believe that they were ISIS. There was probably some teenagers that were just saying like we're
Oh,
ISIS.
they were fake. They were off-brand ISIS. They were knockoff ISIS.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff. So that's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
That's
they might make. Where do you think knockoff ISIS was? Dude, that's how ISIS attack works. A ton of them are like inspired lone wolf attacks. That's still an ISIS attack. That's part of their doctrine, is to try to inspire those types of violence and then claim credit for it.
But okay,
that's how you got like the Pulse nightclub shooting. Are we gonna say the Pulse nightclub shooting doesn't have anything to do with ISIS now?
I mean, like it wasn't with the group, yeah, because look, it was a guy that was inspired. So any crazy person that was inspired by Hitler, basically, just or by the Azov, is basically.
Yeah, I do think if Hitler says kill all this group, and then somebody is inspired by that and goes kill those people, I do think that's at least partially Hitler's fault or inspired by Nazism. I would say that's a Nazi,
inspired,
a Nazi,
inspired,
yeah.
yes.
It was a Nazi definitely. ISIS wanted people, they directed people to do these attacks. So this isn't just like, oh, I got inspired by like Dungeons and Dragons and I cut off my mom's head, like some crazy. No, they were advocating for violence and telling people to go do it in their name, and then people did it.
But isn't it strange though that like all these things happen, and I just go what is going on right now in Gaza? This kind of stuff happen, and we have seen pictures. We have seen actually videos of Netanyahu visiting Jabhat al-Nusra fighters in Syria. We have seen Ephraim Halevi on an interview saying that supporting Jabhat al-Nusra is okay. Not only that, or Al-Qaeda, and we also seen British support for terrorists in Libya.
Can you tell me about this thing about Netanyahu visiting ISIS people in Syria, or
50-50 chance he's just talking about some FSA fighters? 50-50
fighters. I can see him. Everything that comes up is him visiting a field hospital for Syrians or an IDF base. But what are we talking about here? When did he do this?
I don't know. Back in the Syrian war, man. It's like a while ago. But you can check out the Ephraim Halevi video, though. Like he was ex-Mossad, and like he was getting an interview.
Okay, what is the point of all this? Is the point of all this to say ISIS didn't really do the attack, or actually they were directed by some foreign intelligence? What's the point of all of this?
Yes, they were directed by foreign intelligence. That's the point.
Okay, well, I think that's stupid, and I think you're stupid for thinking that.
No, what do you mean? Like there was never, like, so that's what I'm saying. There was never any support by outside influence, whether it's the Israelis, whether it's the British government supporting what do you call it, Islamic terrorists in Libya. Yes or no? The people that
wait, back the fuck up. Number one, we were arming groups in Libya because we wanted to see the downfall of Gaddafi's regime, correct? And so, we don't want to see the downfall of Putin's regime necessarily. We're terrified of that because they have a giant nuclear arsenal. There's a reason why the West has been doing escalation management, and there's a reason why the West is kind of scared about the targeting of Russian oil production. It isn't just because they're scared about the international market. They're scared about collapse.
Yes,
the idea that what service to America's interest, to Israel's interest, to anyone's interest would they have in directing ISIS to do this type of attack in Caracas, especially since the Russian government is now using it to beat the drum of mobilization to attack Ukraine, an unrelated country. Also, they've been unable to provide any evidence backing up this claim. There's tons of evidence that ISIS did it. No evidence yet that that Ukraine or the United States was involved in planning it, or inspiring it, or paying for it, or anything for that matter. Definitely since both Iran and the United States warned them in advance of the attack.
We don't know this kind of stuff because secret stuff anyway. But have you supported Islamic terrorists to attack our enemies before? Yes or no?
Simple. Yeah, they have. But in what way do you think how do you think that went? Do you think they were like, let's just we like these terrorists, we like these Islamic extremists, so let's use them to get rid of Gaddafi? Or do you think they understated the threat, or what do you think happened?
I'm not supposed to, but one of the guys that did the Manchester bombing, he was one of the guys you trained, Salman Abedi. He belonged to one of the groups you guys trained.
Yeah.
And the two airmen also that raped them.
Well, they didn't train him. They didn't train the Abedi family.
ISIS in Moscow. There's just dumb speculation, dog.
I don't think the Abedi family was.
You speculate. There's history. There's history, right?
The Abedi family were given passage between Libya and different countries in North Africa because they were seen as anti-Gaddafi They were seen useful in an
But
anti-Gaddafi sense. They
but
were
the
monitored and
group-
they were
but
suspected
the-
threat, but that's
the
the
group they
criticism
fight
there.
with.
The criticism there is that the UK, and this was even found in their own reports, was that they had understated the Islamist element of the anti-Gaddafi people. But where they were at the time was they were supporting people who were anti-Gaddafi. And yes, they made the very grave error of supporting some of those people who were terrorists. But I don't know, or who were Islamists. But I don't know what the fuck that has to do with. I don't know what that has to do with proving that. ISIS were directed to attack Russia.
Because we are because that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you know, you guys, like, even though you're leftists, you see the Britain or USA as clean and you know, as Boy Scouts. But I know that
I literally just gave you an
they're
example of
dirty
Britain
people.
being not very clean at all.
Can
but-
you
Yeah, but
point
they're
to
very
one
dirty
example
people.
of
Even
the
in
United
Ireland.
And I did it
States
better than
paid
you
ISIS
can,
to
so-
do a terror attack, or the United States paid a group to do a terror attack like this period in the past?
What do you mean,
Like, have we ever? Because the story from the Russians is, this is their official story, that through cryptocurrency, they haven't provided the wallet transfers or any of the evidence of this. They just said it. That through cryptocurrency, the United States paid ISIS to attack Russia. For what reason? I mean, I don't know. I guess they said for like Nazi whatever reason. They just fucking propaganda nonsense. For whatever reason, who knows? Is there any example of us doing something like this before?
For sure, yeah. Like a whole lot of fucking
how?
reasons, man.
When?
What do you mean? Like, you know, we overthrew
No, like
multiple
paid.
governments.
Why would we pay terrorists to attack civilians at random of a country we're escalating tensions with? It doesn't make any sense. Or we just want to escalate tensions more, just to piss them off, just to help them mobilize soldiers.
Or maybe, you know, we supported these people and they went rogue. Those kind of things happen also. Even as we speak right now.
What does that even mean? How would they go rogue? How does ISIS is ISIS? Oh my God, we gave guns to ISIS and then they did an ISIS thing. They did a terror. No, ISIS has gone rogue. They're doing terrorism now. Before they were so nice and chipper and friendly.
As long as it's not against Israel, yeah, we're good with it anyway. But
we fought ISIS. We did Operation Inherent Resolve. We tried to get rid of their territorial holdings in Syria and Iraq. We didn't like ISIS. We fought ISIS.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about the relationship between Islamic extremism and USA. Sometimes we support these people and fuck shit up. Sometimes we kill them. So this is like the what do you call it? The snake eating its own tail. You know, it's like, you know, we support them, they fuck shit up, and then we go and take care of the deal. So it's like the revolving wheel. Man.
There are
Like, so
instances where we have an enemy in the region and we'll work with regional allies or regional partners to fight them. And some of those regional partners will be bad guys. But the purpose has never been to help Islamists. The purpose is because we have a bigger enemy. What's the bigger enemy here? This attack did nothing to bring down Russia. How does this attack bring down Russia? It helps the Russians mobilize more troops. What did it do? How does it help us?
I mean, I don't know. We just to punish them, just to kill people. Who the fuck knows?
We just hate we're just Russophobic. We were just like, ooh, those stinky Russians. We don't like how stinky they are, and we went over there and just paid terrorists to kill them for no reason.
I mean, I don't know. You supported, like you said, yes, you supported terrorists before to do crazy shit like this before. So, I mean,
I asked you to give me an example of something like this before, and you still haven't. Like, there's no evidence for this. This is based purely in speculation, and you've still been able to provide me a motivation. So far, it's speculation, not even based in a concrete motivation, just for no reason, just for violence, just because we're evil or something.
Yeah, we did. We did that with in Libya. We did that in Syria. We did that.
That's what we helped local people because we just wanted Libyans to die. Is that how you view our intervention in Libya?
No, because we hated the Gaddafi and we wanted.
We wanted Gaddafi's regime to fall. Do we want Russia to collapse? No,
yes, of course.
We do not want Russia. No, are you insane? Are you insane? Why would the Russian government want Russia to? Why would America want Russia to collapse? That's insane.
Because it's our number one.
We didn't even want the Soviet Union to collapse. We were terrified of the Soviet Union's collapse. We were terrified of the Soviet Union's collapse. That doesn't make any... Dude, they have... When the Soviet Union was going down, we were scared. We were terrified because of their massive nuclear arsenal. We didn't know what was going to happen to these nukes, and we were scared that something could go wrong. Some rogue state would grab them. And so to some extent, the government was actually against the idea of the Soviet Union collapsing in the same way that the American government is against the Russian government collapsing. We might want to see a change in government, but we don't want the government to collapse. If the government collapses, then you have the largest nuclear power in the world with a nuclear arsenal that's up for grabs for warlords and who knows what. That's a fear the American government has.
We go in there. Okay, if we feared that much, we wouldn't antagonize Russia just much as it is, man.
No,
We wouldn't
just
poke the
because
bear
we
over there.
understand that they're nuclear power, that doesn't mean we can cheat them with total deference. That means we have to give them everything and they can conquer whatever country. What you're describing right now is the biggest question of the nuclear age, is how to do diplomacy when you have world-ending potential.
No, look, Russia is our biggest rival, right? It's bigger rival than any of the Islamist countries. It was our biggest rival in the Soviet times. If it falls down, it also just brings us some more eminence. One more
we want to bring down Russia through terror attacks for eminence. How did okay, if we just go look at Russian history,
what does Empire
did the apartment bombings help the Russian government centralize control, or did they hurt the Russian government, the apartment bombings?
Help, probably, yeah.
So why would we think that just mowing down random civilians and assisting them, not that any evidence has been provided of this yet, there's still no evidence, why would we do this? How would it help us? And so far, your only justification is because, well, I guess we just wanted to kill. We were like that guy from what's that video game? God, what's that video game? I gotta look it up quick.
Oh wait, but okay. So while he's gone, all right. So we have established it. So we have supported Islamic terrorists before. We have used them for our own good before, for nefarious reasons. Yes, we have all used that, and they have gone rogue before and did they have blowback, killed us.
Postal, yeah, we're like we're like the national postal guy. We're just the postal character as a country.
But that's not the claim you're making. Are you saying that these ISIS-K guys went rogue after being supported by the West, or they're currently being supported by the West to take down Russia? What do you think?
I think they are support because I think what's his name, Lee Camp. He's a Jewish guy too, but like a lefty. And he made a video saying that one of the leaders of ISIS-K used to work for one security company. I forgot what his name is, but I guess you should check out Lee Camp. He made a video about him. I forgot the guy's name and everything like that. But
Lee Camp's a fucking moron.
Oh, whatever, man. He's a proper journalist, man. Like,
he's a real proper journalist. Yeah, because he stands for empire. He just does it for the alternative establishment.
There's no alternative establishment. He just
yes, there is. This is my problem with a lot of the weird Russia simps, is that many of them are doing it from contrarian efforts of like, I hate American empire. And there's a lot of reasons not like American empire. So what they've done is they've just traded it for a separate empire. And I don't think that's principled at all. I think that's moronic.
There's no separate empire. Like what they call Russia's not an empire. China is an empire, but I don't
How is Russia? How did it become the largest country in the world? How do you think that happened? Do you think they just wandered around and everybody welcomed them in?
Currently,
what do you think happened to the Siberian peoples?
Currently, is Russia an empire?
Yes.
No. I mean,
what would you call an invasion? Why did they invade Georgia and take up Abkhazia? Do you think they were just doing that because they wanted to resolve the deep ethnic tensions in the region, or do you think they wanted to do that because they want Georgia to be in their sphere of influence, to be in their empire? If America's an empire and having allies around the world and military bases around the world is enough to be an empire, then the Russians are an empire. They're just much more regional.
Okay, well, like it's a regional. Okay, I'll give you a regional empire. Are you happy with that now? It's so regional empire that they even lost Ukraine to America.
Yeah, by the way, it's not just in the region, though, because they are doing operations in Africa. They're supporting the RSF, which is engaged in horrific violence in Sudan.
Okay, and so are your buddies, the Ukrainians as well, are there as well. Like doing
supporting the Sudanese military forces against the RSF.
Shit. Like, I told you, like, this basically the same thing the Cubans were doing. They were dogs of the Americans.
But how is that the same? Wait, are you pro RSF? Are you one of Hetmani's boys or something? Are you?
No,
you want the RSF to win?
No, I don't even know who these guys are. I don't know the RSF or the Sudanese military are. I'm just making the comparison.
I mean, they did the Darfur genocide. I don't think they should win the war. It is at least my opinion.
Okay, I don't know these people, but my point of it is though that the Cubans, like the same as the Ukrainians nowadays, were CIA boys going all around the world doing America's dirty work.
Do you think that? Why do you think Ukraine would have an interest in countries that Russia's in? Do you think there might be a national interest in like, hey, if we have the Russians tied up elsewhere, then we'll be fine at home and they'll have less resources to attack us? I mean, there were reports about the Ukrainian government considering working with the remnants of the FSA in northern Syria in order to try to destroy more Russian aircraft and more Russian soldiers and get more of them tied up in Syria instead of Ukraine.
Okay, but anyway, but I think the best thing to do right now.
Wait,
for
no,
Putin-
don't say anyway. Isn't that clearly in Ukraine's interest and not in America's interest to tie up Russian soldiers elsewhere if they're fighting a war with Russia? Don't run away.
Don't
Hopping
you
around
think,
like a bunny.
Bullshit. Like, I don't think any Ukrainians have anything. Like, they have any decision.
You
All
don't
do
think
is
they
like,
have
yes, sir,
any reason
Americans.
to divert
Yes, sir.
Russian war
Yes, sir.
resources elsewhere?
No, they look. These are American boys, man. All they do is America tells them to do. That's
You're
what they are.
just,
Like,
dude, you're just
Americans-
regurgitating talking points at this point. You can't engage with the idea that Ukraine's fighting a war that is existential and they want Russian soldiers to leave. If the Russian soldiers go to Syria to fight the FSA, or they go to Sudan to support the RSF, or they go to other parts of Africa to do other things, if they stretch out the Russian resources, then they can fight a more effective war at home. That would be the strategy. You don't think there's any interest there for the Ukrainians, for their national survival?
If Ukraine cared about their survival, wouldn't pick a fight for America with the Russians. Even
They
now,
were
Lindsey Graham-
invaded. They didn't pick a fight. They tried to negotiate
Jesus.
until the last day when the
No,
Russians
they
crossed the border.
didn't
You are
negotiate.
just a
No,
simp for
what-
empire.
what if
You
Bojo-
are that
Bojo-
alternative empire guy I was
Bojo-
talking about.
Boris
You
Johnson-
reject the
Boris
American
Johnson came and
establishment
fucked up.
empire to join the
Johnson.
jackboot of another one. That's pathetic.
trying to do the-
It's humiliating. I can't. Honestly,
He's trying to do the
disgusts me.
Boris Johnson argument.
You smell,
He
and
thinks,
also you smell bad. I want to also include that you smell bad too.
wow.
Okay, like, well, you don't even know how you look like, but you just wanted to say that because what, like, it was racist stuff, huh? It's like,
What do you
okay,
mean, wait,
American guy-
racist stuff? I don't know what race you are. What race are you?
Huh? I'm a
Tell me what
black
race
Arab.
you are so I could be a better racist.
All right, like, yeah, you're a supremacist, man. Like, anyway, like, one of these days, man. Like,
What do you mean
one
an
of those-
American supremacist, dog?
That's what you are. That's what you are.
All I
Look, man,
want is
saw-
the
I saw a
Russians to
video-
leave the country they're invading, and that makes me an American supremacist. Well, that says
Dude,
a
I
lot
saw-
more about your worldview than mine.
No. I saw a video of you of one in Syria where you were like, oh my God, yeah, I think you were having a hard on, man. Checking out how when the Syrians
More
were getting
gay
killed by the
fantasies,
Americans.
man. You got to get that checked.
No, that was like I saw it, man. You were getting a hard on, man. While you were talking about the
You said-
American military. Yeah, you were getting a hard on, man.
How hard was I?
I don't know, man. It looks like you're having an orgasm.
Wow, man. You're paying close attention, huh?
I mean, it's just you. It's like, oh my God, American military. Fuck you, man. You're what do you call it? You're a Raytheon leftist, man. That's what you are. You're a Raytheon.
You mean
leftist.
I live, laugh, Lockheed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, live, laugh, Lockheed, man. That's it.
Nah, man.
What? Now, one of these days you're going
Dude,
to pay for the
I
price.
wish, man, the money would have been much better, but nah.
Exactly, you're just a water carrier for these rich people, for these rich white men who you want to
the white man.
who you want to
I
suck.
serve the
who you want
white
to suck
man.
dick. You want to suck
I'm
your dick,
serving
like,
the
you're
white
just-
man. Loner, I'm sorry. I haven't been honest to you about my interests. I
Yeah.
serve the white man and the white man first.
Well, as a gay guy, yeah.
thought
of
that was a
course. Like,
given.
that's what you're out for. Yeah, of course. As a gay man, that's what you want to like. You want the military man first. Like that's what you want. You're
Okay,
attracted to
dude, what's
power.
with the gay fantasies, dog? I haven't talked about my sexuality once in this conversation. Why do you keep coming back to my sexuality? Dog, get it checked out. See a therapist.
because a lot of things are motivated by sex, man.
That's so.
Yeah,
yeah.
I support Ukraine because of my gay urges.
Anyway, man, it has been nice talking to you all. We'll chat another time. But you guys are not leftists, though. You're
Dude, you're not a
fucking-
leftist.
It's a really
You can't
good thing you've
support
got
an
to-
empire and then call yourself a leftist. Like Ukraine started the war. They got invaded, dog. You can't be carrying water for an empire and just because it's not the red, white, and blue, pretend now that you're like some anti-colonial warrior, man.
At least I support the Houthis and stuff like that. Look on the Hamas.
What is
You
that?
guys-
What kind of fuck, dude? A bunny again to jump around. To jump around. Okay, I support one empire, but I don't support this other empire. So I'm actually a true leftist and decolonial because this empire is not as bad as the other empire. Get the fuck out of here.
You get the fuck out of here. Loner, see you too, man.
Bye.
Wow.
Bro.
Where do you find these people?
He's been in my DMs for about 6 months.
Jesus, wait.
I just unmuted him because I
persistent?
felt like an argument one day, today, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, he won't stop. He'll be back. He's been holding on to that Mariupol thing for like, yeah, a few months now.
It doesn't make any sense though. He didn't know anything about it.
It is what it is. I don't like always having debates with people like that, because I already see people in my chat saying like this is what the best pro-Palestinians have to offer and shit like that. That guy's not pro-Palestinian. He's pro-Hamas. He's not even. I don't even know if Hamas would say half the same shit that he says. Like, no, and it feels weird like arguing against that, because I often feel like I have to argue from a position that I don't necessarily hold. But like, I don't know, because I feel like, for example, there are so many things that you can criticize, that you can attack Israel for what they're doing in Gaza right now. There are so many fucking failures and disregards and like acts of recklessness and all this shit, or negligence if we're being generous. But you don't really get to bring that up so easily, like in a conversation like that, and you feel like you have to wedge it in because you spend so much time pushing against all the claims that are just not true, you know?
He jumped around so quick. You'd get to like the conclusion of any conversation and he'd jump out right before the finale.
Well, hi
Hey,
Anna, how's it going?
American
Hey.
dogs are here. Hey,
Hello.
the American dog. So yeah, I just wanted to say hello to you both. But I heard this guy that was here, and I was like, nah, fuck that. So yeah, that's the process.
I hope we
Hey, Dylan.
honored our Banderite masters correctly.
Yes, my favorite part was I didn't listen to the entire thing, just a little bit. But the best thing was when you were talking about attacks inspired by ISIS. Is it like ISIS? Can you say it's ISIS? And he was like, attacks inspired by Hitler or Azov. In the same like gravitas to Hitler and Azov. I kind of appreciate that, if I'm honest. So
Azov's built a
yeah.
reputation. They're up there.
Yeah, they're like up there, you know. Hitler, Azov, like same.
I think the order is Azov then Hitler, actually.
Oh yeah. But Bandera was actually way worse than Hitler. Everybody knows that. Alright, so what's up? What are you doing other than chatting with this lovely fella?
I was gonna watch a Pierce Morgan debate, but think about it.
Yeah,
Maybe,
well,
maybe not.
I'm hiding from cops. Other than that, I'm not doing much.
You're hiding from cops?
Yes, they have been so we not only have S-300 now and Iranian drones, now also aerial strikes. So, yeah.
Like glide bombs?
You can, yeah, it's like Cobb, but it's like a lighter version of it. So the original Cobb is like 500 kilograms heavy thing, and the ones they started shooting at Kharkiv are a little bit lighter, but they're like a modification of that Cobb thing that they use in the region. You can even hear them when they fly, which is pretty weird. It's not as fast, I suppose, as usual missiles, so you can hear like a little bit of a and then boom, you know. And they also landed here in the where I live, all 5 of them recently, like in specifically near my place. So, yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Fucking
Couple places you and I have been actually, like that Unifect building, if you remember, it was like a sports complex.
Yeah, we went there.
There,
We filmed there, took pictures.
yeah, there is, as well as that soldier statue. The soldier statue.
Oh yeah, I posted the Homer Simpson picture with that.
yeah, that there as well too. So
Did the statue get hit, or are they around it?
no, yeah, it's just a similar area basically, not
Gotcha.
the exactly that place. I just making you naming the places so you can understand how.
Is the
close.
dolphin okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Nobody touched dolphins since you have not seen them. So yeah, Dylan is a big dolphin fan. I should say.
I like the dolphins.
Yeah.
We went to the Kharkiv aquarium and they had beautiful dolphins there. We couldn't go the first time, but the second time it was all open, and now I will defend them with my life.
I mean, I've seen you
He
with
was
Highland
giving them-
cows, so
That's
doesn't
true.
surprise
I
me.
do like animals.
He was giving them the dreamy eyes. It was kind of funny. Yeah. Also, the turtle tried to escape. Remember that?
They did try to escape. They were not vibing.
Yeah, the
And I
poor
still got the
turtle.
picture with you and the fish. I still haven't posted it.
Don't post it. I don't like that one.
Okay.
But okay, you can. If it makes you feel happy, you can do it.
Oh, it brings me
I did
immense joy.
okay, then post it. I did the face you wanted, so
Fantastic.
yeah, the pufferfish face. See what I have to deal with? How the Americans make me do things I don't want to do, as all Ukrainians.
Yeah, that's the United States.
True,
for you.
it's the war tourism. Hassan said I'd throw peanuts at you.
Did he-
What?
what the fuck does that mean?
No, I didn't say that. He should say. He probably did though in private. I
God.
bet.
What that mean? Peanuts, throwing peanuts.
Peanuts, like a circus animal, like I'm making the Ukrainians dance.
Ah, I see. Yeah, he did say something like that, but not exactly.
Oh yeah, I was using you as like a weapon, basically. That you were my spear against the Hassan Interdestiny Civil War something.
Yes, he said that you like made us, all the participants in that video. Yeah, so we just listened to our master. Okay.
That's true. I paid them all in Nintendo Switch consoles.
Oh, that's decent payment actually. Yeah.
That would be a good payment. I'd give a lie interview for Nintendo Switch. I'll condemn anyone.
Cheap. So the official line is now that America staged it attack in Crocus City. I thought it was us last time I checked, like Ukraine.
No, you were the
we
getaway
paid,
driver, right? That's why they
we
went to
paid
Ukraine.
ISIS is the idea. We paid it for Ukraine or something.
Oh, I see. Because last thing I checked was like the Ukrainian plates and the escape to the border.
They weren't even Ukrainian. They were Belarusian plates. It didn't even make any sense.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but it is.
Did you hear what Lukashenko said though? Lukashenko's breaking with Putin's narrative on this. He said no, they didn't try to go to Ukraine. They tried to come to Belarus. And Putin's now arguing with Lukashenko like in semi-public. Like actually, no, Lukashenko's wrong. They can't get the story straight.
Drama. It's like Potato Führer. He got things mixed up, maybe.
Maybe.
Potato Lord sometimes gets things a bit out of order, but I'm not sure it's on purpose, to be honest.
No, I think he's a little out there in the head. I don't want to keep Lonerbox anymore, though. This was a good conversation. Thank you for letting me crash. You guys have a good one. And Anna, I'll be in country in very soon in the next 2 weeks.
Oh,
that's
pretty cool. Yeah. See you there then.
Are you pit stopping in Europe on the way? Are you pit stopping in Western Europe on the way again?
I'm gonna be in Paris this weekend. Then I'm gonna go to Berlin,
fancy.
then Warsaw, then I'm gonna go to Ukraine.
What are you doing in Paris?
I wanted to visit my old editor, Geek. And there's a cute guy there I wanted to see, and I've never seen Paris.
Yay! Cute shit in Paris. Good luck.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yay. City of love.
Did you say anywhere else apart from Paris?
Paris, I was thinking of staying a night in Berlin because I've never been to Berlin, and I was gonna stay a few nights in Warsaw.
Oh my God, Warsaw.
Yep. Cool. I've spent a lot of time in Lublin, but not Warsaw specifically.
Cool.
If you see any Polish farmers, tell them fuck you from me.
If I see any Polish people, tell them fuck you.
Farmers. Right?
Farmers. Got you.
I don't know if there are any farmers in fucking Warsaw, right? In the city.
I don't think I'll meet many.
Yeah.
But I'll send the message.
He will be crossing, I suppose. So might see them there. They have no other job, apparently, other than blocking borders.
Damn. Not even going to Scotland, Cringe.
I saw a cow. I had a haggis. I think I did the things.
That is basically all the
all
things.
The Scottish
you saw a castle?
That is true. I did see a castle. And one rock is like all other rocks. I did see.
In Scotland, there are a lot of.
I did. I saw like a Scottish Highland cow. It was really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck the cows. The architecture.
Oh, they had churches everywhere, but all the churches were turned into dirty nightclubs.
Oh.
Yeah, we do that.
Is it true?
Yeah, they're beautiful buildings too.
The base?
All the central urban churches are turned into like bars, nightclubs, and one of them is a casino. Yeah, not all of them.
Dude.
Most of them.
I'm kind of liking Scotland more now than I did before.
If you gamble in a church, you deserve to lose all your money.
That's a very localized thing, though. That's just my city because we didn't have
strange.
the same Irish immigration and Protestant Catholic divide or anything, so no one gave a fuck.
Oh,
We're a very godless town.
that's interesting. Great, based. I appreciate it. I'm here for the cute buildings. Okay, I'm not here for the religious shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm up for changing stuff on the inside.
This
Well,
is
anyhow, yeah.
This is the castle we went to on my screen.
I don't see you, so I can't see.
All right.
I see the picture with the hair, but not the box. It's
All
himself.
right, I'll send you the wiki. This is the one that we went to.
It was a very beautiful
yeah.
castle.
Fuck yeah. I wanted to go actually to Scotland for a long time to see the cute shit. Oh damn, that's awesome. On a hill and everything.
Yeah.
Cute. Did you like it, Barbarian? I mean, Dylan.
Barbarian. I like the castle. Yeah, no, I like the castle. I thought it was very pretty. I like the view out in the water. I like that
Cool.
William Wallace climbed up the shit pipe to take this place. That was cool.
This actually
Yeah.
looks quite a bit like Khatin Castle in Ukraine. Only there's a river, not the sea. But yeah, it's cool. I like castles. I'm a simp for castles. Okay.
Simp for castles.
Well, everyone in Scotland has a castle, so we got plenty of them.
Of course.
Can't get rid of
all
the stuff.
Ukrainians have had castles. If you listen to your Western communists,
Yeah.
that's why we have been how it's called in English, collectivized. Yeah.
Collectivized. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what the Soviet did. They just took all the castles away.
Cringe.
Yeah, all them landlords or whatever. Yeah, a lot of yawning I hear, although I don't see. But I suspect it's Lonerbox.
Yeah, I'm a bit tired.
Well, I should probably then leave you to watch some good stuff you want to watch.
Yeah, I was supposed to be reading
I don't
today, but it's probably going to get pushed back again. Who knows? We'll see. One day I'll get to it, okay? One day.
Reading stuff about what?
Holodomor.
Oh, yeah, I remember you said you're gonna read some stuff. Anyhow, missiles seems to be not trying to kill me, so I might as well go drink some tea or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, see you soon, Dylan, I suppose. And bye-bye, Loner.
Take care.
Have a
Anna.
good day,
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yep. See you, Loner.
Bye-bye.
Have a good stream.
Fucking hell, man.